first win here at this facility. As we go into today's race, Ricky Rudd is on top of the point standings for the first time in his career. He won last weekend at Darlington mainly because of some strategy planned around the pit rules. However, during this past week, the pit rules have changed drastically. And for more on that story, let's go on pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, there aren't many professional sports organizations that are as responsive to the input from the competitors and fans as NASCAR is. And as a result of that response and input, they're going to change the pit rules here at Bristol and allow the drivers to change tires under caution. But to make it safe on pit road, they're going to divide the field in half. If you qualified on the inside row, first, third, fifth, seventh, etc., you're an odd car. If you qualified on the outside row to start the race, you're an even car. Now, to the first lap of caution, when the pace car comes out of turn 4 and opens pit road, the odd cars will be allowed to pit. You can come down pit road and do whatever you want to do. Next time by, the even cars can come in and pit. Now, herein lies the difference. They're going to strictly enforce the safety rules on pit road. If you lose control of your car coming down pit road and spin the car, get it more than 90 degrees out of shape, it'll cost you a 5-lap penalty. If you contact another car on pit road and it's your fault, which is the judgment call by the NASCAR official, that's also a 5-lap penalty. If you stop the nose of your car over this line marking the exit to your pits, that's a 15-second penalty. And you're allowed 7 men and only 7 to work on that car. An extra man or even a foot from an extra man over that wall will cost you a 15-second penalty. What they're trying to do is maintain the margin of safety while getting back to good old traditional stock car racing. Hey, and speaking of traditional racing, take a look at who's starting on that front row where John Kernan's standing.
Jerry, I tell you what, it doesn't get much better than this. Right here, starting from the #1 pole position, Rusty Wallace. On the outside, in the second position, Dale Earnhardt. 2 guys who love this kind of a racetrack where the action is fast and furious. Things happen in a hurry, and there's a little, well, okay, maybe there's a lot of some beating and banging. It's the kind of track that really fits both of their driving styles. In fact, as Bob said, both drivers won their first career Winston Cup races here. So now let's go for the command to fire the engine.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Grand Marshal of today's race, the Vice President of Coca-Cola USA. For those 4 famous words, Mr. Raymond Thomas. Raymond.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
As the 33-car field roars to life, a lot of factors to consider what with the new pit road rules. Is that right, Ned Jarrett and Benny?
John, we can talk about them, we can dance around them, but Ned, until we run a race, there's no way of knowing what's going to happen.
Not really, but I think one thing for sure, Benny, we'll see a lot closer racing than we've seen so far this year now that they can change tires during caution. But I think one thing, it'll be hard for the drivers to make up a lap because of the restarts.
That's right, because odd cars on the inside, even cars on the outside. Normally, we see the slower cars on the inside on the preferred line, so you're right, making up laps is going to be difficult.
You know, Benny, this track has produced a lot of first-time winners. Dale Earnhardt got his first victory here. So did Rusty Wallace. Last year, Ernie Irvin got in victory lane for the first time ever. Wouldn't surprise me to see that happen here today. Michael Waltrip running awfully good. So is Hud Strickland. And Rick Mast, I think, has an excellent shot at winning this race.
Whoa. Don't forget about that young Jarrett. I think Ned's been a little bit modest. Dale is running very well, isn't he?
He is running good in the sit-go forward, and he likes this racetrack. He might have a shot at it, but he, like Michael Waltrip, pitting on the backstretch. That's another thing that has come into play with the pit rules the way they are now. It'll be a disadvantage pitting on the backstretch.
All right, thank you, guys. You can see the cars lined up on pit road. In just a few minutes, they'll be going onto the track for a couple of warm-up laps. Here is the die-hard starting lineup for today's Valleydale Meats 500. On the pole, his first pole here at Bristol, Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, qualifying at 118.051, just short of a record. Outside front row, Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet car number 3. The second row consists of Davey Allison in the Haviland Ford car number 28. He's flanked by last week's winner and the new points leader, Ricky Rudd, in the Tide Chevrolet car number 5. Row 3 is Alan Kowicki, the Hooters Ford car number 7. He's flanked by last year's Winston Cup runner-up, Mark Martin, in the Folgers Ford car number 6. Fourth row is Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Buick number 26, and Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet car number 4. And we take a look now at the remainder of the starting lineup. Rick Mast there is the only driver in the top 10 who has not registered a Winston Cup win in his career. Several of the drivers qualified off the pace, so to speak, and are placed in the middle, if not toward the back of the starting grid. So we should see a lot of movement of drivers coming up through the field. Ted Musgrave and Bobby Hamilton back there in row number 14. The two slowest qualifiers, Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte. The other three took provisionals, including Richard Petty, who used his provisional of being a former Winston Cup champion. Now let's take a look at the track they'll be running on here this afternoon. Bristol International Raceway is just a little over a half mile in length. They qualified at 1:18.051 in 16.25 seconds. 500 laps will go, and the field is separated by just a little more than a half second. Bristol International Raceway has pits on both the front stretch and the back stretch. It is a true oval. And as far as places to look for, well, coming out of turn number 2, we have seen many accidents occur there, and likewise as the cars come out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway, we've seen a lot of crashes in the past. The turns are banked at 36 degrees, that is turns 1 and 2, and by the same token, turns 3 and 4 also banked at 36 degrees. Even the front stretch is banked at 16 degrees, so you can see that as the cars come off of the banking of the turns, they go on to 16 degrees, and then they're right back into 36 degrees of banking. Our in-car cameras, as Ernie Irvin carries one of them, he's on that 36-degree banking right now. Ernie will carry one of our in-car cameras here this afternoon. His first career Winston Cup win came here. Dale Jarrett will carry a bumper cam. You can see that car right in front of the Snickers car, and the helmet cam also being carried by Dale this afternoon. And finally, Lake Speed will have one of our in-car cameras. Lake starting way back in 24th position. We are about ready to go green for 500 laps of racing. Great crowd on hand. The sun is out, and here we go with the Valleydale Meats 500.
Dale Earnhardt having all kinds of trouble getting up to speed. He's now back to 6th spot. Bumper cam on Dale Jarrett's car right up behind the 20 car driven by Bobby Hillin.
Rusty Wallace has the lead. Earnhardt created a traffic jam at the beginning of the race and has fallen back to 6th.
Yeah, he was trying to get in line, fellas. He was on the outside, and that was not the preferred groove on the start of the race, so it took him a little while to get down into the inside.
That's a race for 4th. Brett Bodine, Quaker State Buick, and the Tide Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd. As Bob mentioned, he now is the leader of the Winston Cup point standing.
Has an 80-point advantage over Dale Earnhardt going into this event. As you can see, Earnhardt is right behind him in 6th spot. Running back in 7th position is Mark Martin. Rick Mast is 8th. Jeff Bodine is 9th. And 10th is Sterling Marlin. Jerry, what was wrong there with Earnhardt at the beginning of the race?
Well, nothing really, Bob, other than the fact that Rusty Wallace jumped off to a quick start out of turn 4, and Earnhardt was caught on the outside and really couldn't get in the swaddle and use much power off the corner. Remember, this race a year ago, he spun coming off turn 2, hit the inside wall, and it cost him a shot at winning, so he wanted to make sure he made no mistakes early on, take his time and get back in line.
Well, it did cost him 5 positions, but he has fallen into 5th place now and is holding his own. As you can see, the great battle is between Brett Bodine in the green Quaker State number 26 and Ricky Rudd in the Tide Machine number 5. And there's Earnhardt right behind them. The first 3 cars are Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Alan Kulwicki. Back behind Rick Mast is Jeff Bodine, Hut Strickland, Ernie Irvin, and the other Junior Johnson car driven by Sterling Marlin. And now Ernie trying to position himself inside of Hut Strickland. Couldn't get the pass made in turns 1 and 2.
He took a look going in turn 1, was not able to get by. He's right on the back bumper of that Buick.
It's not going to be an easy chore to pass here today, fellas. You really are going to have to set someone up and maybe cause him to make a little bit of a mistake up in front of you so you can get a fender under him.
There we see Ernie once again trying to get to the inside. Almost made it, but not quite.
Well, he puts a little bumper to him that time, but still, it was not good enough.
Watching 9th, 10th, and 11th. They did do some more resurfacing. Oh, Ricky Rudd now trying to move into 4th position, and he has. Brett Bodine is caught up on the high side and is passed by 3 cars.
Now 4.
Now 4 as Rick Mast comes along.
And Hut Strickland will find himself in the same position. You get up in that outside groove, and the freight train is going by.
That's looking at the back of Ernie Irvin's car back at Sterling Marlin, the Maxwell House Ford. Sterling pulls up right on the back bumper of Ernie, but Ernie pulls away down the straightaway about a car length or so.
Speeds here average about 118 a lap for the pole sitter. What's top speed, Benny?
130 miles per hour. As we watch the cars accelerate down the front straightaway, right now Sterling Martin run 130 with brakes going in turn 1.
There's 1st and 2nd, Rusty Wallace and Davey Allison. 1-2 back in 3rd position, about 8 car lengths behind Davey Allison is Alan Kowicki. As the first 15 laps of this Valleydale Meats 500 being completed with Rusty Wallace leading, and running in 2nd place is Davey Allison. Well, today's ESPN is presenting once again the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win a $10,000 reward from Right Guard Sports Stick Antiperspirant, and you will have a chance to win a Pontiac Grand Prix SC if you dial the number on your screen and know who's leading at the halfway mark when they call you back. The Right Guard Halfway Challenge in effect here at Bristol once again this weekend.
As a matter of fact, they have rolled the $10,000 over to $20,000 today for the leader at the halfway point.
The yellow flag comes out over Bristol International Raceway for the first time.
And the car number 68, the rookie driver Bobby Hamilton, apparently blew an engine. He's in the pits on the backstretch, and they think there might be a little oil or something in the groove.
So the NASCAR officials will come out to check, and you can see some damage there on the left side of Jeff Bodine's car, and that car has been showing some smoke coming from it, probably some body work rubbing against the tires. So we're under caution. The speed of the field is reduced for the first time. We're live from Bristol International Raceway in East Tennessee.
You know, for the smallest jobs to great American homes, the paint more people count on is Sears Weather Beater. Guaranteed to last for 15 years, no matter where you live, no matter what the weather. For the paint, for the craftsman tools, guaranteed to last. Count on Sears, the home of America's craftsmen.
This is the lowest price you'll find on Sears Weather Beater Flat Finish. It's on sale, only $11.99, now at Sears.
We've just begun here at Bristol. 19 of 500 laps completed. Rusty Wallace has the lead. Davey Allison 2nd, followed by Alan Kowicki, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt. Our Speed World coverage of the Valleydale Meats 500 being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. We showed you the damage on the left side of Jeff Bodine's car. Now we'll maybe get an indication of exactly how it was placed there.
Well, he got high, Bob, and several cars went by, and you see a little smoke coming off of it as he comes off of turn 4. But there was a little bit of rubbing in those passes. One more lap to go now before the green flag comes out. We see the cars. This is the first time ever now that we have seen them line up double file on a restart since there were no cars left. But it's the odd cars, the way they qualified on the inside, the even cars on the outside. Advantage to some, maybe disadvantage to others.
Well, it's a tremendous advantage to the 5-car Ricky Rudd right now. He was running 4th when his caution flag came out. Right now, he is up beside. There he is. The 5-car is right beside the leader, Rusty Wallace. So he's 2nd.
And he actually is the leader of the race since he's lined up on the outside in the even position. He picks up the 5 bonus points.
He went from 4th to really leading this race under the new system.
Pace car leads him slowly through turns 3 and 4 as the cars begin to pick up some speed now in turn number 4.
And Ricky Rudd controls this restart of the race, and he gets the jump, and he might lead this race. He does.
Ernie Irvin caught up high, losing spots. Now he gets to the inside. The Cinco in-car camera providing the shots. That's Rick Wilson up there in the Snickers, number 8. And Bobby Killen to the left.
Boy, Ned, don't you know Rusty Wallace is fit to be tied?
Oh, man, I tell you, it's there's some others back in the field in the same position that, got caught up on the outside. There wasn't a thing they could do about it. That's the way the rules are, so it's tough on a track like this.
Here comes Rusty off the 4th turn and easily takes the lead away from Ricky Rudd. So Rudd back to 2nd. Dale Earnhardt remains 3rd with Davey Allison 4th and Mark Martin in 5th. And the 7th place car there on the right of your screen is Alan Kulwicki.
Earnhardt was also a benefactor because he was running about 4th or 5th before the caution came out, and he's now running 3rd. So he moved up a couple of spots.
If you can get back in line, even though you're starting on the outside, it can help. There were some back in the pack that didn't get back in line, and it really hurt them.
Alan Kulwicki looking to the inside of Mark Martin. This is for 5th position.
And Kulwicki was running 3rd when the caution flag came out. So you see, folks, how this new rule will change the running order around.
Riding with Ernie Irvin once again, who's positioned behind Alan Kulwicki.
You can see the cars move around quite a bit on this racetrack. Even though the turns are back 36 degrees, they still slide around there a little bit. Kulwicki putting some pressure on Mark Martin.
You just have no time to rest on this track. The straightaway's, what, about 2.5 or 3 seconds, and then it's boom, right back into the banking again.
And to the driver, it doesn't seem like it's much more than a second because as they come off the corner, they're still trying to get themselves back, sit in the seat, almost at the start-finish line, and by then it's time to go in the next corner.
Once again, we're watching the battle for 5th and 6th. Mark Martin, Alan Kulwicki, and Ernie Irvin carrying our in-car camera. Behind Irvin is Rick Mast, car number 1 in 8th position.
I thought a couple of laps ago if Kulwicki could get by.
Oh, a spin coming out of 2.
Has fun coming out of turn 2.
Dick Trickle is hit by Rick Wilson. Michael Waltrip is also a victim of the spin by Dick Trickle, as Trickle and Waltrip are at the bottom of the racetrack. Neither car moving at the moment. Rick Wilson damaged the front end of the Snickers car greatly and is driving around the racetrack.
I really don't think Rick Wilson could see a thing.
No,
Michael Waltrip now gets his car started.
But he's left out.
And Trickle does also. Let's see if we can tell how all this developed.
This is going down the front straightaway. The cars will go through turns 1 and 2. There we see Trickle. He moves up the racetrack a little bit, and Michael Waltrip just bumps him a little bit. Around goes Dick. Trickle runs,
Wilson.
Rick Wilson runs in the back of Michael Waltrip, and I just don't think he saw the 34 car for the smoke.
Yeah, once he hit Waltrip, all that smoke was there, and so then he ran into the car 34 of Dick Trickle.
We'll look at it from another angle. Our camera located at the end of the backstretch. You can see how Rick Wilson made contact with Michael Waltrip and then also punched Dick Trickle.
You see, we never saw Rick Wilson until he hit Trickle, and that's exactly what he saw. Nothing until boom.
The record number of caution flags in a NASCAR race occurred here, 20. We've had 2 here in the first 32 laps. Here's a look from the bumper cam.
Again, going down the front straightaway, and Dale Jarrett, Sitco Ford.
He couldn't see either.
Oh, I could say.
What did I say he saw?
But he stopped. He got the car stopped, and so did the cars behind him.
We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon. We're live for Weston Cup Racing at Bristol International Raceway. We'll be right back.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right guard sports stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Warning, cold starts can be tough on your car's engine because your motor oil might not reach some of its parts for a full minute. Fact, independent lab tests confirm whether it's 35 below zero or 50 above. Quaker State 10W30 gets to all your engine parts faster than other leading 10W30s. At 40 degrees, it's 3 times faster. So don't let cold starts make it tough on your engine. Get Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Budweiser cordially invites you to a party at Trump Plaza. Dress is casual. Punch will be served. And there will be plenty of Budweiser on hand. Budweiser presents Holyfield versus Foreman, April 19th at Trump Plaza.
Let's party.
The undisputed heavyweight championship, brought to you by the undisputed king of beers.
Just taking the green flag cars in turn number 4, completing the first lap under green. It's Rusty Wallace that is back out front. Ricky Rudd second, then Allison, Earnhardt, and Alan Kulwicki. And Terry Labonte with a big plume of smoke coming off of turn number 4. He keeps going.
So look, these cars driving right into it. Of course, their spotters have told her there's no car sitting there.
Oh, Dale Earnhardt spins going down in turn 1. Earnhardt's in the fence.
And creating a traffic jam behind. He's hit hard by Sterling Marlin, who slides into him and hits him hard on the right front corner of the car as the field comes around for the caution once again. Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt spin down in turn number 1, and Earnhardt is sitting at the bottom of the racetrack. The car not operating.
There's quite a bit of damage done to the Goodwrench Chevrolet. Sterling Marlin, you can see there's damage done to his car as well. He comes on around, but there is a lot of damage done to the right rear of his car.
The ambulance going to the scene, but it will not be needed as Earnhardt has the car rolling.
He's backing around trying to find some place to land so he can start. Well, he's going to back in this road. Oh, he's going back to his pits.
To his pits, yeah.
Look out.
That's an unusual entrance to the pits. But,
and here comes members of the crew up to greet him. He's backing down this road in the pit area, close to where he is pitted here on the main stretch.
There's Cecil Gordon. Got a jack stand out. The other crew's talking on the radio, telling them what they need.
And here's Jerry Punch, who's right there.
Dale's getting some of the harnesses rebuckled here. Dale, he's trying to get talking to the crew here on the radio. They're trying to get him refixed. He is on the radio trying to get the car refired. You see him sitting in the car, and the crew now surveying the damage. Kurt Shelby and the crew trying to talk to Dale Earnhardt as they get ready to change tires. A tough break for a driver who has had so many good runs here, and now he puts the net down. We'll go back in and get a word with him. Dale, tough break. What happened up there?
NASCAR didn't throw the caution flag at all on the racetrack. I busted my butt.
You took a pretty good lick. Are you okay? You took a pretty good lick from behind.
Huh?
You took a pretty good lick from behind. You all right?
Yeah, they seen that car spin, didn't throw the caution. They had oil on the racetrack going in one. They didn't do nothing. They don't care.
Obviously upset. Dale Earnhardt sitting in the car, and the crew now have their work cut out for him. Lots of sheet metal damage on this Goodwrench Chevrolet. The Shoulders crew now will begin to try to put the parts back together and get him out to pick up some points.
The defending Winston Cup champion sitting at the end of pit road with a damaged race car. Let's go to John Kernan, who's there in the Sterling Marlin pit.
Sterling is back in for the second time. They will work around the rear end. As you can see, it looks like he got run smack into the rear end and pushed it down just a little bit. Now that probably will cause some handling problems out on the track. They've got a pry bar in there. They're trying to pry it back out. They're working fast. Sterling will leave to remain on the lead lap. He's got a lot of damage on that rear end, though.
We'll replay the incident and show you the tail end of the Earnhardt spin up in turn number 1 and how he got punched by Sterling Marlin.
We see Earnhardt spin, and he's backed in the wall, but I don't think there's a lot of damage to the rear of the car. And we see Sterling Marlin come in and just simply back in the front of the car.
Now there is.
Yeah, that's where the damage is as far as that car running again.
Now you
right
can
now.
see that Dale just apparently did hit that oil and slid right up to the wall and then down the banking. And Sterling Marlin comes along and boom, right in the right front of the car. And now from Dale Jarrett's bumper cam.
Running right behind Harry Gant going into the turn. Ooh! Got awfully close
hey.
there.
Oh, it works. I thought maybe we lost it, but it took a hit and continued to work. So the third caution flag is out on Bristol International Raceway in this 500-lap race. 42 have gone by. Rusty Wallace, the leader, back with more right after this.
If you can't wait, you need the News Weekly of Motoring Auto Week. If you can't wait for driving impressions, get Auto Week. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. If you can't wait for car news, get Auto Week. Auto Week covers it all. The great old cars, the auto shows. Auto Week's columnists are controversial and fast. And if you can't wait for racing news, get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week races to bring you the winningest coverage first. If you can't wait, get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
The NFL Draft.
Draft day. Ha! Longest day of my life. It isn't official yet, but I think we're going to take you next. And I'm just sitting on the phone like...
Find out who gets the call and which picks will fall. The controversy.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what the draft's all about.
And the anticipation.
Indianapolis selects
of the NFL Draft. Sunday, April 21st, live on ESPN.
They continue to work on Dale Earnhardt's car, trying to get it back into the race. He was involved in a spin down in turn number 1 and then was hit by Sterling Marlin. Now, before that incident, here is a spin coming off of corner number 4 that involved Terry Labonte.
You see, Labonte did a 360. He stood on the gas and spun the rear tires and created a tremendous amount of smoke. I believe that's the smoke that Dale saw. Now, all those cars come in, they run into the smoke, and Dale goes down the corner, and he thinks that there's some oil, and I'm sure there's oil on the racetrack, but it was, I don't think, from Labonte's car.
Could have been some from the former caution flag when Bobby Hamilton blew an engine.
Exactly. The 68 car evidently lost an engine, so that may be the oil that Earnhardt got into.
And so Earnhardt continues to sit on pit road, and work being done on the car as the green flag comes out, and the Valleydale Meats 500 resumes under green. And Ricky Rudd from his outside front row starting position, the even numbered car, takes the lead away from Rusty Wallace. But here comes Rusty charging back to the inside, and once again he passes Rudd with ease.
Well, with Ricky being the Winston Cup point leader, leading those laps certainly has helped him in that respect, because it gave him a 5-point bonus for leading a lap. So he has that out of the way if he never leads another lap in this race.
Running back to Rudd is Davey Allison, then Ernie Irvin, Alan Kowicki, Rick Mast, Brett Bodine, Jeff Bodine, Ken Schrader, Jimmy Spencer, Hutz Strickland, Mark Martin, and Dale Earnhardt is back on the racetrack. They've got the GM. Oh, and another spin. Lake Speed loops it down in turn number 4. And this creates another caution. There's a big piece of debris at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 4. And once again, we're reduced under yellow for the 4th time in 49 laps. We may be on a record pace here again.
There we see the back end of Lake Speed's car. Trop Arctic Pontiac has bounced in the outside retaining wall.
Well, we've run 49 laps now, fellas. Don't know if we're close enough to pit stops or not. The fellas in the pits might have an idea of if they would stop this early. Certainly they don't want to give up track position, though.
For right now, though, the field staying out on the racetrack behind the pace car as the caution waves once again. We'll be back in Bristol in just a moment.
More police cars throughout America come on Goodyear Eagle radios than any other brand of tires. Why? Because they want it that way.
Attention all units.
Goodyear Eagles. The authorities know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
Show some manners. Don't you understand? Don't you have table manners, huh? You got to have table manners. Now, didn't I raise you to be a better cow than that, huh? Huh?
Back at Bristol, Lake Speed rolls out of the pits on the backstretch in number 66, just ahead of the pace car and the rest of the field as we are set to go back to green in a resumption of this race. Well, if nothing else, the drivers are getting their fix of lining up for a restart. We've had to do it 5 times already, and here they come once again for a restart. It's Rusty Wallace to the inside and Ricky Rudd to the outside. The green flag is out, and Wallace gains the advantage this time. And Davey Allison races along side by side with Ricky Rudd.
Ooh, and Ricky barely gets that second position away.
Earnhardt is about to go another lap down. He's already 10 laps down because of the time he spent in the pits getting that car fixed. And boy, is he going to suffer a point loss here this afternoon. Oh, look at this.
Traffic jam.
A big traffic jam. Ken Schrader spins. Many other cars are going to be involved, but nobody seriously. I think everybody's going to be able to keep going, but
the
boy,
one car of Rick Mast right in the middle of the screen has more damage than anyone out of this. There goes Rick down straightaway. Some heavy damage to the front of his automobile.
Dale Earnhardt was on the low groove of the racetrack and not going nearly as fast as the other members of the field because of the damage that has been sustained to that car. And when the leaders came up on him, we had a problem. And let's look at it once again.
That's what it was. You see the 66 car of Lake Speed out in front, and then Earnhardt, and they're not running nearly as fast as the leaders, and everybody runs in their jams. They're, well, now we're about to see it happen going into turn 3. That's where they really jam up. Ricky Rudd gets by on the outside, but Rusty caught down there and bumps Earnhardt, and then also bumps Davey Allison, and then everybody starts bumping behind them.
And I can see where Rick Mast received all of his damage. He ran in the back of Schrader. He's the fellow who caused Schrader to spin, and there we see Mast in the pits.
And let's go to John Kernan, who's right there.
Bob, you can see the right front side where they've got one of those cutting tools out there, a pneumatic cutting tool. They're cutting away, trying to get that right front fender off there, get it up off the tire at least. Rick sitting in the car. Also some damage to the rear end. The crew will pull out the sheet metal to keep it from getting on the tires. Now, to beat the pace car out, he's going to have to go. So Rick will move along, which is a really shame. He was running really well. He worked up into the top 5 at one point. He told me this morning that he really loves to run here at Bristol. Guys, he said he didn't know why. He just really loved it. But I'm not so sure how much he's going to love it after today.
And we have several cars making pit stops, including Dale Earnhardt, who's getting that car checked over once again. Here's another replay.
Now let me show you what happened. Earnhardt is up in the middle of the racetrack. Rusty Wallace decides to go inside. Earnhardt moves over to let the fast cars go by. And Rusty has already made that decision to go on the inside. Well, he gets jammed in behind Earnhardt. Earnhardt was trying his best to get out of the way, but Rusty had already decided to go the inside of him.
And Dale was impeded by Lake Speed, who was just gaining speed after coming out of the pit area. So that's how that incident occurred. Nobody seriously damaged, although Rick Mast remains on pit road, and the number 11 car showing a lot of damage here. 56 laps completed out of 500 in the Valleydale Meats 500.
Brett Bodine, one tough driver, talks about Quaker State, one tough motor oil.
At North Wilkesboro, that Carolina asphalt was hot enough to fry our King Racing Buick. Our engine was running hot, 240 degrees, and I had to keep pushing it over 8,000 RPM. Now that's when you start worrying about your oil's viscosity breaking down. But when the going got tough, the same Quaker State you can buy right off the shelf was tough enough to get me to the finish line first.
Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? So where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? Just about anywhere you want. Put on a set of Goodyear Wrangler radials, and you'll know why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Well, there's Rick Mast, who is back on the racetrack, but there is a lot of damaged sheet metal already here at Bristol. Rick Mast had a lot, and so does Brett Bodine. Safety regulations in the cockpit area designed to provide further protection for the driver. Here's this week's Track Fact. Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Driver safety is a primary concern in NASCAR. A year or so ago, they installed this roof roll bar, such as if a car were sliding on its side or upside down and were hit from above, the driver would still be safe. In 1991, they've mandated the removal, actually the movement, of this Foyt bar, named after the driver who first described it. This bar, to my right, in years past would go from the right front of the roll cage to an area just behind the seat. The problem there was that with severe side impact, the driver's arm, shoulder, and possibly even helmet could contact that bar. This year, the bar must stop in the middle of the car and go down through the floorboard. That allows a much better safety perimeter inside the car for the driver.
Located high on a hill outside of turn number 2 here at Bristol is a junkyard. And it would appear as though there are good candidates to be up there at the end of this day from right here at the racetrack, because a lot of damage already to several cars. Brett Bodine and several are on pit road still receiving some help. Now, here is how this most recent incident occurred.
Again, Rusty Wallace tries to go by Earnhardt on the inside. Meanwhile, Earnhardt had moved over to let him go by on the outside, and about 10 cars back, the chain reaction started.
Now, here's the back of the pack, and what happens when something happens up in front of you.
Jimmy Spencer going by Schrader. Schrader runs in the back of the 7. The 1 runs in the back of the 25. The 26 run in the back of the 1, and therefore.
And so forth, yes. Here's Jerry Punch.
Brett Bodine, one of the victims, gentlemen, he is still sitting down here working on the front of the car. His Buick Regal heavily damaged. They have the Quaker State hood up, and they're replacing the radiator. Brett, quickly, what happened out there?
Gary, everybody just kind of backed up getting into the corner over there. A bunch of lap cars come out in front of Rusty, and he had to jack up to miss them and run in the back. I believe it was Earnhardt in front of him. And then it was just a chain reaction. I got slowed up, but I got run into from behind, and that just pushed me out in the pile. Just a tough break. The car was running real well, just taking it easy there in the beginning.
Brett Bodine getting work behind the walls. We're back to green, Bob.
We are back to green, and Ricky Rudd has the lead with Rusty Wallace running in second, then Allison Cleveland and Alan Kowicki.
Jimmy Spencer's running 6th, Hut Strickland 7th, Dale Jarrett 8th, Chad Little 9th, and Harry Gant 10th.
Looks like Ricky Rudd has a very good race car today. I think Rusty Wallace is a little bit quicker at this point, and there he goes by Ricky Rudd with no problem. And here comes the 28 car, Davey Allison. He's going to take the spot away. Now Rudd will be able to get in line.
So Rusty Wallace goes back in the lead. We have had 11 lead changes in the first 64 laps. Strategy down on pit road, John?
Bob's strategy on pit road as it applies to the racetrack. Ricky Rudd leading a couple of laps, and then the cars go around him. What he has told Waddell Wilson on the radio, what they have talked about, is taking a conservative approach right now. As we've seen, it's the law of the jungle. You have to survive out there on the racetrack to be around at the end of 500 laps. So Ricky's not going to take any unnecessary chances at this point.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, there's a great battle for 7th position. That's Hut Strickland in car number 12, and right behind him, carrying our bumper cam, is Dale Jarrett.
And he's been awfully close, as he is right now, to Hut Strickland as he goes into the turn. No contact, but
it's close.
Yeah.
Great.
I wouldn't want to be standing between them.
Look how close. The Sitco in-car camera providing some great shots of how close these guys run together. And you can understand now that when somebody gets off the accelerator and, God forbid, on the brakes, what can happen?
You've got a wreck. That's what can happen. What will happen about every time. That's Strickland following up last Sunday's Darlington Trans-South 500. Had a great run going in there. Well, I think Dale Jarrett's got a look on the inside. Maybe.
Let's see. Now if he's going to fall back. No, he stays alongside the putt and goes by him. Nice move by Dale Jarrett.
And here comes other problems, namely Harry Gant, that green and white number 33, the Skull Bandit. Once Jarrett got by Hutt Strickland, he's able to pull away by 3 or 4 car lengths.
Jarrett 7th, 8th, and 9th. Jarrett 7th, Hutt now 8th, and Harry Gant in 9th position.
Gant looking for the opportunity. He now may have the inside lope. Hutt gets a good jump off the second corner and remains in the position. Meanwhile, here's some side-by-side racing. Bobby Hillen and Joe Ruttman were side-by-side there for a moment. Ruttman in number 75. Bobby Hillen drives car 20. And there's Michael Waltrip in number 30, who had such a great run last week at Darlington before trouble on pit road.
And he had a good run going this week, too, Bob, until he got caught up in that spin. He lost a lap over there, but he's still running good, it looks like. There's Kyle Petty. Kyle has been in the pits in the mellow yellow Pontiac. He's one of the drivers that has made a pit stop, has fresh tires on the car, but he still is having trouble finding running room.
Kyle's 14th.
Yellow flag is out.
Another caution. There is an umbrella, believe it or not, on the racetrack. Now, where in the world did that fall out of the grandstand? I guess it did.
I'm sure it didn't fall out of one of those race cars. Or at least I don't think so.
Well, that's a first. The 6th caution flag of the afternoon at Bristol is brought out by an umbrella on the racetrack. Back with more racing after this.
It's tough enough to take you 250,000 miles. Tough enough to take you from Akron to Atlanta, on to Fort Worth and Fargo.
It's the Quaker State Guarantee, a guarantee so tough your new car's engine is protected against oil-related breakdowns for 250,000 miles or 10 years.
Hartford to Hollywood.
Enroll free at your Quaker State Service Center. You could run out of roads before you run out of Quaker State protection, because Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
You're pushing 2 tons of steel at 200 plus with just a coat of paint between you and the leader. What's going through your mind?
Stock car fans can now go inside the sport like never before with NASCAR Video Magazine from Time Life Video. Each video helps you gain greater insights into everything from racing strategies to the latest hardware.
Starting with the Daytona experience, yours for just $9.99. It's a behind-the-scenes look at the Super Bowl of racing with Darrell Waltrip, Richard Petty, and Jeff Bodine. Plus how dyno technology is pushing engine performance and a lot more.
Here's how to get started.
Call to get the Daytona experience for $9.99 plus shipping and handling. Use your credit card and we'll send you a free gift. This NASCAR Daytona 500 board game. Other videos like top 10 drivers, fathers, sons, and brothers, and evolution of the race car will arrive about every other month at $16.99. There's no commitment. Cancel at any time. The NASCAR Video Magazine from Time Life Video.
You haven't missed a thing. The cars are coming down to take the green flag and resume the Valleydale Meats 500 on lap number 78. It's been pretty much an up-front battle between Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace. They have exchanged the lead here in the first 78 laps of this event. Right now it's Rudd out front at number 5. Wallace in number 2, in position number 2.
Rush is getting tired of this. He goes out and gets a second or two leads. The caution flag comes out, and Rudd jumps him on the restart.
Well, but Rudd let him go.
Yep.
Moved over and let him go.
We've seen it twice before. Now for the third time, Wallace easily takes the lead away. big crash on the front stretch. Derek Cope makes hard impact with the wall coming off of corner number 4, and
so did Bill Elliott. Make some hard contact with something. I think it was the back of Cope's car.
Anyway, Cope's car is on the inside down by pit wall, just past the start-finish line. And the guy who won the Daytona 500 a year ago and had to take a provisional to get into this race has suffered severe damage on the right side of the race car.
Wow, there is some heavy damage.
Here it is again.
Cope's caught on the outside. Here he comes off turn 4, and look, something happened to the right front of the car, and he just goes straight into the wall and right down in the side of Bill Elliott's car.
Yeah, he hit Bill Elliott's car hard on the right front.
Let's go to John Kernan.
Derek has radioed into his crew chief, Buddy Parrott, who's told him that the problem was the throttle hung open on him, hung wide open, and that was part of the problem coming out of the turn, or in the turn, as the throttle hung on him.
Well, he made hard contact on the right side of the car with the 4th turn wall, and then heavy contact with Bill Elliott as he slid across the racetrack. He is out of the race car and walking toward the ambulance, but the day is done for Derek Cope.
Well, that's a tough break for he and for Bill Elliott. Bill certainly a victim of the circumstances. He was just trying to get down the inside, but Cope came off the wall.
Elliott has not had a good weekend. He was the next slowest qualifier, started this race in 29th position, and now his car has been damaged in an incident with Derek Cope. We'll take another break and be back in just a moment.
Ever wonder what Daryl does when he's not racing?
I'm at Western Auto kind of checking things out, and you should too. Hey, guys.
Hi, Daryl.
Because now you can enter our exciting We Win, You Win $1 million racing sweepstakes. There's monthly drawings for Chevy Luminas, race trips, plus, if I win the championship, one of you will win $1 million.
While you're at Western Auto, pick up a Delco Freedom 60 battery for just $44.99. Delco Freedom 60 batteries. It's like buying time.
You do look good in cardboard.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, hand me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tone and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
Live, Top Rank Boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock them off the winches, all right?
Can anything stop the Selden Express? Undefeated Bruce Selden continues his climb up the heavyweight ladder against Oliver McCall. Top Rank Boxing, Thursday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Once again, here's how to enter the Right Guard Halfway Challenge Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-420-2222 before the halfway map. And stay tuned to see which driver wins the today $20,000 award. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you will win a Pontiac Grand Prix SE if you can name the driver who won the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. We are not nearly to the halfway point yet. We're on lap number 85. And once again, under caution, Dick Trickle is parked at the bottom of the racetrack in turn number 3. The left rear wheel came off of that car.
Well, the left front is also off. We can see it's trying to be, it's hung under the fender, but it's not attached to the hub as it should be. What happened is he made a pit stop. They took the lug nuts off the left side, and there was some miscommunication. Dick left, and the left rear fell off, and the left front is almost off.
Trickle's first ride with this team. There you can see the left rear coming off.
And it happened right in front. The leaders were about to come around. He was beating the leaders out of the pits, but that tire did not bounce up in front of Rusty Wallace, so everything was okay.
Bristol International Raceway has had a history of exciting racing and a lot of bumping and banging. A lot of first-time winners, too. Let's take a look at last year's event. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. The weekend at Bristol last April began with a terrible crash in Saturday's Busch Grand National race involving Michael Waltrip. Despite what looked like an unsurvivable incident, Michael walked away and was in fact in the lineup for the next day's Winston Cup race. Ernie Irvan had won his first career pole. He led until the 16th lap when he was involved in a spin in turn number 1. Points leader Dale Earnhardt also fell victim to the Bristol high banks. Phil Parsons, substituting for Harry Gant, carried our bumper cam and caught this action, which also involved Dale Jarrett. Davey Allison narrowly escaped a crash involving Rob Moroso on lap 169. But Davey charged back to the front of the field. And at the checkered, he beat Mark Martin by 8 inches, the closest finish in NASCAR history. And with that second place finish last year, Mark Martin moved to second in the point standings. Here at Bristol this year, 86 laps have been completed. Here are the top 5, Wallace, Rudd, Allison, and the second 5 back after this.
Time to go, boys. You've been in there long enough.
Hey, we're not even tired. I feel good.
So I've checked the mileage, Andy.
Hey, we're the auto lights. We're guaranteed.
Guaranteed?
I feel good. Yeah, 2 years no matter how far we go.
A spark plug guarantees that.
We do. Yeah, we're the auto lights.
But
So go pull the plug on somebody else.
Okay.
The Suzuki Bandit. Don't blink.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Welcome to Mountain Man 101. Let's begin. This is a mountain man. Notice his love of great natural beauty, his instinctive resourcefulness, his healthy respect for a fine pair of cowboy boots. However, the easiest way to identify a mountain man is to look at his hands, which will no doubt be holding a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn to live life as a man among men.
The Suzuki Katana 600. It jams even before you start playing.
Cars have just taken the green and headed into turn number 1 on the 91st lap. We're back to racing. Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace at it again. Rusty takes the lead away from Ricky.
Ricky just sort of backs off going into turn 3 and lets him go. That one time, Davey Allison got by, and Ricky didn't want that to happen again, so he's being a little bit smarter about it this time.
Great battle back in the pack. Joe Ruttman, that's the 15 of Morgan Shepherd up high on the racetrack. Bobby Hillen, number 20. Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip. Also, Ken Schrader is there.
Mickey Gibbs going by on the inside.
And Rick Mast. They sort things out back in the pack. Here comes Terry Labonte in the number 94 Sunoco car. There's Mark Martin also getting involved in this battle.
Boy, caught on that high side. Morgan trying to get down on the inside now. He finally gets in line, but Mark Martin still caught out there. There's Jeff Bodine right behind them, too. Jeff has been in the pits. Dale Jarrett right behind Jeff Bodine. He also has been in the pits during this last caution.
Up front, meanwhile, it continues to be Wallace, Rudd, and Davey Allison. These 3 drivers have certainly been the dominant one so far. Here comes Ricky Rudd passing Rusty Wallace.
Something's wrong with Rusty. He has a problem because he has just lost some of his dominance. Jerry Punch, what seems to be the problem?
Rusty just radioed to crew chief Jimmy Maycar that he may have a tire going down. Maycar and the crew began to scramble here quickly, but they're not really sure. They're just waiting for Rusty to make an appearance, and they're like what we are doing right now. They're watching to see if he will bring the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac off pit road. Because obviously he has a serious problem getting the car into the corner, so apparently that is the case.
He has dropped back to 5th position and stands a chance of losing it to Harry Gant, who's trying desperately to get around. Harry looking toward the outside now as they come off the 4th corner. Gant moving alongside of Rusty Wallace and takes the position going into 1. And here comes Hut Strickland right behind. Jimmy Spencer and Chad Litter also racing together.
And they are having good runs here today. Spencer up in the top 5 for a long time, still running about 6th or 7th. And Chad Little having a great day here as well.
Debris being shown on the racetrack. Rusty would certainly like to have a caution period right here to get that debris off and allow him. It appears to be only paper, so it cannot be classified as debris. And so Rusty is going to have to make a serious decision here in the next few laps as to whether to continue to lose positions or bring that car in for a stop.
Well, he's going to fool around and cost himself a lap on the racetrack here, and that really will be expensive when he could have come into the pits and maybe not have lost over 1 lap. So I think he's probably going to come in now.
Yes, here he comes. Was sideways, and here comes Rusty. Jerry Punch, he's headed toward you.
A tough break for Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac under the green. They wanted to wait and make their pit stop in about 30 laps with another yellow flag. With no such luck, they will change right side tires. In fact, they're going to change all 4 tires. They're not really sure what the problem is, but they had no choice but to change all 4. Jimmy Maycar has changed the right side tire. Now he and Eddie Nickerson jump around to the left side of the car. Jack going to clean the windshield. He'll pull the Goodyear tires off. Field now going by. Rusty got a little lap down. Next pit road, 22.4 seconds.
But he is 2 laps down as he goes back out on the track. He was about a lap, 2/3 of a lap, and the yellow is just now out. Boy,
bad timing for Rusty Wallace. The yellow is displayed to the field. Boy, you make a great 4-tire change. It takes you 22 seconds, and you lose 2 laps.
Well, he was about 2/3 of a lap down before he came in. And so it didn't take long to get that first lap down. As a matter of fact, by the time he got to his pits, he was already that first lap down.
Now, I would guess that these fellas are going to be able to pit, or will choose to pit. The odds.
Now, if they choose, here are the odd-numbered pits.
Well, here's Davey Allison coming down pit road. Yeah, the odd numbers appear to be coming in.
John Kernan right there.
They just got the signal from the NASCAR officials, 2 laps to go, but Davey has decided to come down and pit anyway. They will take 4 tires. Looks like they're not going to make any chassis adjustments. We were expecting Ricky Rudd to come in, but Ricky was unable to come in at this point just because of the length of the caution period. The rights are already on, the lefts aren't going on right now. They're making sure that they get the lug nuts tight. A 21.5 second pit stop 4-tire change is really good.
So 4 of the odd-numbered cars have made pit stops.
And the reason Ricky Rudd didn't come in, he is an even-numbered car, so he couldn't come in until this next time around.
Dr. Jerry Punch has a comment on Ernie Irvin, Doctor.
You may be wondering why Tony Glover and the Kodak crew did not bring Ernie Irvin in. Tony said, I desperately need to get Ernie in here and get this car dialed in and adjusted. He's got a car that's not handling well at all. And we sort of told Ernie, okay, we got a choice. You can come in and get fresh tires. We'll dial the car in, but you're going to have to start way in the back. And Ernie said, are you kidding me? It's a jungle back there. I'm staying where I am.
Well, track position is definitely important, especially on a tight track like this.
It really is, because we've seen how tough it is to pass.
Now you can see how they are lining up. The 19 car of Chad Little is an odd-numbered car, and so he goes to the inside of the racetrack and again picks up many positions because of this.
He's an odd-numbered qualifier. Right. Although his number is an odd number, Michael Waltrip is also number 30. He's an odd qualifier, so that's why they're on the inside.
We should point out that the odd and even have absolutely nothing to do with the car number. It is where you qualified and where you start in the race. Green flag is out.
Well, still an impressive run for Chad Little. He started 31st and now is up there in 3rd place.
Pole sitter and early leader Rusty Wallace is back in the middle of the pack, and as we said a little bit ago, he's now 2 laps down to these cars.
And I'll tell you, the way the rules are now, baby, that's going to be tough to make up because of where he's going to have to restart the race. He's in a big restart unless he just happens to be right up at the front when the caution comes out.
Now, Michael Waltrip in car number 30 is the 4th car in line, but he is a lap down because of an incident with Dick Trickle a few laps ago.
With Ricky Rudd is leading. Ernie Irvin is second. Chad Little is third. Harry Gant fourth. And Jimmy Spencer in fifth place. Joe Ruttman is sixth. Kyle Petty seventh. And eighth is Mickey Gibbs. Ninth, Rick Mast.
And there is Rusty Wallace, who finds himself back in 25th position and 2 laps down to the field.
24 car Mickey Gibbs. Rusty trying to get by. He's got position. No, can't quite make the pass down the front straightaway. If Mickey can slip up just a little bit, Rusty will be by him. There he goes.
So Rusty goes to the inside, and now Mark Martin hopes to do the same. He pulls to the inside of Mickey Gibbs in the 3rd turn, and he too picks up a position. Rusty Wallace, the pole sitter for this event, won his first Winston Cup race ever at this racetrack, was looking very strong in the early going of this event, but came in for a 4-tire change under green and is trying desperately to work his way back up through traffic. Right in front of Rusty Wallace is Rick Mast, who has a lot of damage on the right front of that race car, but still it is performing well.
And he's still in the lead lap. With all that work they've done on the car, they've been able to keep him in the lead lap.
Going in 9th place right now.
The number 98 car is Jimmy Spencer, and right behind him is Chad Little, and Spencer having a great ride.
This is probably the best I've ever seen Jimmy Spencer run in a Winston Cup stock car race. He's now in 4th spot. So a little bit of smoke out of Harry Gant's car. I don't know what that was, if it was tire smoke or something out of the exhaust.
And Chad Little is right behind Jimmy Spencer. Look at the movement that he has had today. On lap number 25, he was 28th. At the end of 75 laps, he moved to 11th. He was in 8th by the end of 100 laps, and now at the end of 115, he is all the way up to 5th place. Chad Little, great run. Ernie Irvin, meanwhile, putting a lot of pressure on the leader of the race, Ricky Rudd. And Ernie Irvin takes it down into corner number 1, looking for the inside. He's going to pass Ricky Rudd, and Ernie Irvin has the lead.
21 cars in the lead lap. Ricky Rudd didn't offer a great deal of resistance as we look back out of Ernie Irvin's car at the Ricky Rudd.
This is the first time that Ernie Irvin has led a Winston Cup race since he took the checkered flag at the Daytona 500. From his bumper cam, we look back on Ricky Rudd, who's about 4 or 5 car lengths behind. Here's Harry Gant, who is trying to get around Michael Waltrip. Gant is our 3rd place runner right now. Again, Michael Waltrip is not on the lead lap. Jimmy Spencer behind. Gant moving alongside of Michael Waltrip, and he passes. And I believe that Jimmy Spencer is going to be able to do the same thing here in the 3rd and 4th turns.
That sponsor on Jimmy Spencer's car is Food City, a local supermarket chain up in the western part of Virginia, eastern Tennessee.
58,300 people have made their way into Bristol International Raceway today, breaking the attendance mark for this event.
And they're going to build 4,000 more new seats down here in turn 4 next to the scoreboard, the Winston Cup Series scoreboard.
And they'll fill every one of them, I guarantee you. Plus, they'll still have people sitting on the hill. The leader is Ernie Irvin. Running in 2nd spot is Ricky Rudd. 3rd is Harry Gant, then Jimmy Spencer and Chad Little. We'll be back with more from Bristol after this.
No more big, crummy muffins, because Hostess has created mini muffins. They're bite-sized, and Hostess bakes them with real fruit and nuts. They're moist and yummy, not big and crummy. Mini muffins from the Hostess Breakfast Bake Shop.
One car manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. Winning over 350 NASCAR races. Over 4 decades of racing. That car manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
You know, recycling is giving trash a whole new meaning.
That's the idea, John.
The Rubbermaid 32-gallon wheel trash can, only $9.97, and a 4 cubic foot wheelbarrow is just $19.99.
Does that make garbage garbage?
Beats me.
Has anybody thought about dynamite?
Ernie Irvin leads the Valleydale Meats 500 at Bristol International Raceway. Ricky Rudd is second, Harry Gant third, Jimmy Spencer fourth, Chad Little running in fifth at the end of 129 of 500 laps. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Ace. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. And by Levi's 505 and 540 jeans for men. There's the leader, Ernie Irvin. He stretched the advantage over Ricky Rudd to about 7 or 8 car lengths right now. As Rudd begins to close in on some slower traffic. Back in the pack, meanwhile, some good racing going on. There you can see the third and the fourth place competitors, Harry Gant. And here is Chad Little, Mickey Gibbs, and Bobby Hamilton.
That's Ted Musgrave, 55, not Mickey Gibbs.
Now, we mentioned to Bobby Hamilton, we thought he blew an engine earlier. He did put some oil down on the track, but apparently it was an oil line or an oil filter or something, because Bobby Hamilton, the leading rookie contender this year, is back out there in the Temper Time Lemonade car.
As a matter of fact, that's the only two rookies in the race running side by side. Ted Musgrave on the outside, Bobby Hamilton on the inside.
The number 19 car of Little and the 42 of Kyle Petty got together a few laps ago. Yeah, they did get together coming off the fourth turn.
Yeah, they were racing for position. Kyle was trying to get by the Chad Little car, but they got together and Kyle dropped several positions in that maneuver.
Chad Little running in fifth spot. Ted Musgrave in fifth.
Sixth, that would be.
Sixth, right.
And Kyle in seventh.
Is Kyle.
Eighth now is Rick Mast.
Now look at this. Rudd has moved up on the back bumper of Ernie Irvin just a little bit ago. What was it? 15, 20 car length advantage. Now it's 0. So does Ernie Irvin have a problem?
Well, they said a while ago that he needed a pit stop. Jerry Punch reported that he needed a pit stop to get some tires on it, but maybe after he runs a little while, the tires get heated up and starts dropping back a little.
Our field snapshot allowing you to look for your favorite driver, see where he is in position with the leader. As Irvin stops the clock at 17.5 seconds. That is an average speed. Oh, my calculator isn't working, Benny. Figure that out in your head real quick.
Well,
hurry.
That's above me.
Oh.
Well, it's pretty quick for the way the track is
there
right
you go.
now.
That's a good answer.
And they got hot tires on those cars. Rick Mast has called Kyle Petty.
Seventh position battle here. Kyle Petty and Rick Mast.
It's amazing that one car is able to run as well as it is, because it looks like a refugee from a junkyard.
Yeah, it certainly isn't very aerodynamic in the right front of the car, but it runs all right.
Right behind them is the Soldiers Ford, Mark Martin.
By the way, that was 109.645 mile-an-hour lap. Now Rudd right behind Irvin as they put another lap on Dale Earnhardt, who was involved in a crash early in the event. And look at Harry Gant.
Harry Gant has moved up right on the back bumper of Rudd, and he's brought Jimmy Spencer with him.
Good ride for Spencer.
Now, the first 5 cars, fellas, have not made a pit stop. They've run a little over 140 laps. I would say once they get around that 160 lap mark that they're going to have to be thinking about the pit stop or at least gas.
Harry Gant trying to pick up second. He does, and Jimmy Spencer comes with him. Rudd back to fourth. And now Harry Gant sets his sights on the leader, Ernie Irvin.
Well, Ned, when we talked about first-time winners at the top of the show, we forgot to mention Jimmy Spencer.
That's right. Yep.
this race back in 20th position.
Watching the out of the back bumper, we can tell just how fast the outside retaining wall goes by the cars, the speed they're reaching down the straightaway. Again, about 130 miles per hour at the end of the straightaway, turning right into a 36-degree bank.
Kyle Petty and Mark Martin now involved in a battle for 8th position. Mark Martin showing a little bit of damage on the left side of that Folgers Ford, number 6.
Mark had the position just a lap ago. Kyle has taken it away. Now he's taking a look on the inside.
He may have it because Kyle has let that car drift up high. Martin pulls alongside and takes the position.
Boy, Nate, it looks like that outside groove is pressures here this afternoon.
Yes, it does. Although they're beginning to move up a little bit down in turn 1. I don't know if that'll help them once they start passing or how it'll be, but it has been tough out there once you get out there.
Oh, look, Dan has picked up something, some tape or something on the from the racetrack. Maybe it's a piece off of some car. Anyway, it's plastered right up against the front of that car.
Looks like something off Sterling Marlin's car. It's about the color of Sterling's car. I don't think it would hurt anything unless it gets over the brake duct. Just to the right on our screen of that piece of blue is an inlet for air duct for brake duct. But I don't think it's hurting anything like that. That's where it is right there.
And here these guys on and off the accelerator constantly around this half-mile racetrack. Turns banked at 36 degrees. 150 laps are completed.
ESPN Home Video presents Bill Elliott, Racing into History. The only video that shows you why this man became a racer and how he became a champion. Hosted by ESPN's Benny Parsons, you'll feel the excitement of driving with Bill as he wins NASCAR's biggest prize, the Winston Million.
Bill Elliott gets the checker flag. Bill Elliott has won an additional $1 million in 1985.
Get an insider's look at the Dawsonville shops where Bill's cars are made. Ride with him at over 150 miles an hour and listen in as he and Ernie plan their race strategies.
I'll be about 2 rails away to the left rear.
Order your copy for only $19.95. Call 1-800-533-1800. That's 1-800-533-1800. Bill Elliott is one of America's premier NASCAR drivers and most popular heroes, and Racing into History lets you enjoy the excitement of driving with Bill again and again. Call today, 1-800-533-1800.
Bristol, the standings remain the same. Out front, Harry Gant running right behind him there, the number 33. Skolbad to the number 2 car of Rusty Wallace.
He's losing some positions. He's a couple of laps down after that pit stop, but right now the car is not at the speed. The one car, Rick Nass, just passed him, and Mark Martin taking a look on the last lap on the inside was not able to get by, but clearly outrunning Wallace, our pole sitter at this point.
Wallace is shown in 23rd. 2 laps down to the field after a green flag pit stop. There's Mark Martin, who has himself begun his comeback. He is 6th in points going into this race. That car is showing a lot of damage. And he just touched the wall coming out of the corner, it looked like. Yep.
Ooh, did he ever? He said that was just a little bit too close, but now he's coming back. No real damage. All he did was scrape some sheet metal.
Morgan Shepherd is in the pits on the backstretch and the Motorcraft Ford for a 4-tire change. There'll be others coming in, those that have a big bet. They'll get a chance now. Jeff Bodine has fun. That's the caution that these leaders were looking for because they were about ready for pit stops under green.
The caution does come out, although Jeff Bodine gets the car headed in the right direction. The yellow flag is out for the 9th time this afternoon. Now we will see these pit rules come into effect.
Oh, yeah, no question about it. Those drivers the leaders, the first 5, had not pitted yet, and so they were going to have to come in under green before long.
And here are the guys that will come in first. Those that are odd numbered according to their starting positions.
See, now Ernie Irvan dove in the pits, and that's wrong.
Well, the pit road is open.
But he can't. He's an even car.
Oh, okay.
He made a mistake and dumped in.
And he realizes that and continues on. He does not stop for service. He just keeps going.
The pit road was open, but only to the inside rows that qualified in the odd positions. And Ernie was an even position. He was not able to pit.
And I would imagine that there would be no penalty imposed on Ernie Irvan. For one thing, he didn't stop. And secondly, NASCAR made it very clear to the drivers that they would understand that everybody has to get used to this new procedure. Now, here are the even-numbered machines that will be coming in this time. The even-numbered pits, Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvan is now making a pit stop. So is Mark Martin, Rick Mast, Kyle Petty, Hut Strickland. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Obviously, a little bit of red-faced. Ernie Irvan brings the Kodak Chevrolet into the pits, and the crew will change all 4 tires. The NASCAR watched what Ernie did a minute ago and sent a NASCAR official over to talk to Tony Glover. Of course, Ernie, realizing his mistake as they changed now left-side tires, slowed the car down, making sure he did not pass the pace car still on the racetrack as he came down pit road. So we'll see that NASCAR will allow Ernie to go back out and not hold him at all, because Ernie did rectify indeed his own mistake.
Well, theoretically, if this pit procedure works, there should be a space between every car. And down here toward turn number 1, we had 5 cars.
What happened together? Alan Kowicki, who was an odd car, was not caught up with the field and did not pit when his time came to pit. He came around the next lap and pitted, and I think that's okay as far as the rules are concerned.
So the caution out, and the cars are getting lined up for a restart here at Bristol International Raceway.
Presenting a superbly engineered high-performance machine. One designed to outperform anything the competition has ever introduced. With exceptional starting power, smooth acceleration, and outstanding fuel efficiency. What do we call this masterpiece of engineering? Bosch Platinum. The ultimate spark plug with the advantages of pure platinum. You've never driven anything like it.
To locate a Bosch retailer or service outlet, call 1-800-882-8101.
Warning, cold starts can be tough on your car's engine because your motor oil might not reach some of its parts for a full minute. Fact, independent lab tests confirm whether it's 35 below zero or 50 above. Quaker State 10W30 gets to all your engine parts faster than other leading 10W30s. At 40 degrees, it's 3 times faster. So don't let cold starts make it tough on your engine. Get Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Fact, the full-size Ford has been the best-selling pickup in America for the past 14 years. Fact, Ford has the best full-size pickup value in America today. With AM/FM stereo, special wheels, and low-mount mirrors. This Ford is hundreds less than a comparably equipped Chevy or Dodge. Call it leadership. Call it winning. With values like this, it's no wonder more people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
Back at Bristol, where the realignment is underway, it could almost be described as a scramble, but everybody is getting in position, 2 abreast formation for the restart of this Valleydale Meats 500. We will not go back to green this time.
I don't know. Evidently, I don't know what the problem is, why we're not going to green. Evidently, NASCAR does not like the lineup or something.
Well, of course, they do give them 2 laps on the short track now with these new rules to get lined up. They give them 2 laps to go, but they're holding them an extra lap this time. And you're probably right, Danny. They're not pleased with the way everybody is.
And I don't think they're going to get the 1 lap to go signal this time by.
They're telling somebody to go to the back of the line.
They sure are. Well, anyway, let's go back a year ago and look at how crowded pit road was when the yellow flag came out. And you can see there was just mass chaos. Everybody in trying to get tires on. This is just a few minutes ago. Now, as you can see, there is a little bit of congestion here and near turn 1, but not nearly as bad overall.
And that's the worst it will ever be. Right there is the worst it will ever be. So obviously it's something that we have to do.
And again, compare that to last year when almost every pit here on the front stretch, 17 stalls were here. And look at the number of people on pit road for that matter. 7 men are allowed over the wall on each car this year. And again, we go back. Boy, a lot less congested in terms of number of people over the wall.
Yes, this is by far the safest thing they could do.
Fellas, that car that they were going to put to back of the line, Alan Kowicki, because he came in out of sequence. But you mentioned, you know, that he had come in. He is an odd car, and he came in while the even cars were pitting. And so they announced in the driver's meeting, fellas, you go to the rear of the pack if you do that.
Not only Alan Kowicki, but also Hut Strickland and Ernie Irvin are being sent to the back of their respected rows because of pit road infraction.
So Ernie Irvin would be coming down pit road was an infraction.
Yep. Even though they didn't do anything to the car, it still was an infraction. Okay, green flag waving again.
Here we go. Petty finds himself at the front of the field. However, he is 5 laps down.
Rusty Wallace, who is 2 laps down. Leader is Ken Schrader, the white car on the outside. Here comes Michael Walter.
Trying to get a lap back.
He's trying his best to get his lap back. He's 1 lap down. He's on the inside of the leader, and here comes Ricky Rudd. If he can get by Schrader, he'll be the absolute leader of the race.
Only 2 cars, believe it or not, out of the race, despite all the banging and crashing that we have had in this event. Only 2 are behind the wall.
That's hard to believe. There's been a lot of work done on a lot of cars, and some of them are a lot of laps down, like Dale Earnhardt and Brett Ledine and Bobby Hamilton, but they're still out there running.
Rusty Wallace passing King Richard, going to the front of the line. And look at Ricky Rudd, 4th in line. Rudd, the leader of the race. Boy, the Rick Hendrick team has changed completely from last year.
They do have a team concept now, and it looks like it's working awfully well. Both he and Schrader both been much more competitive this year than in 1990.
Their drivers are 1st and 4th in the point standings going in this race. Rudd on top and Schrader 138 points behind his point.
Now the car is running 1-2 on the racetrack.
And in 3rd place is Davey Allison. 4th is Mark Martin. 5th, Harry Gant. 6th is Ted Musgrave. 7th, Joe Rutman.
Ken Schrader, Davey Allison, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant are the cars we're showing you now as they scramble for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Passing Bobby Hamilton on the high side of the track. Hamilton in that yellow-green number 68.
Here's some cars that have been dicing it up. Just a moment ago, Chad Little, Dale Jarrett, and Jimmy Spencer all really got tight up there. Jarrett did get around Spencer. He is on the back bumper now. The Tyson Holly Farms forward of Chad Little. That's the pit-go bumper cam that we're looking at there. Oops, Kyle Petty goes a little high. Chad Little tries to get under it. Couldn't quite do it.
Came up on him real quick, but didn't make the pass. And this is the rear end of the number 19 car driven by Chad Little. And once again, Kyle goes high on the track in turns 3 and 4. Chad Little running in 9th. And Dale Jarrett carrying our camera. Sitco and car cam running 10th.
They're about to run up on a big pack of cars right in front of them. They're Morgan Shepherd, who had made that green flag pit stop just as the caution was coming out.
Look at, touching there. Contact between Chad Little and Kyle Petty.
Now, they've already had some contact earlier today. We saw that when they were battling for 6th position a little while ago.
Kyle Petty trying to get that outside groove working. I see several cars running a little bit higher than they used to be.
Yeah, the outside groove might be coming in a little bit now, Benny.
It looks like it is.
Kyle's able to hold his position, even though Chad Little is on the inside. And now Kyle pulls completely around Chad Little.
Race for second place, Kenny Schrader in the white 25. Davey House in the black 28. Davey was inside. Kenny coming off turn 2. Couldn't make the pass. He's going to try it again.
Allison, the defending champion of this race, beat Mark Martin by 8 inches. Oh, and Davey almost lost it with contact with Schrader coming off of corner number 2, but Davey held on to third. But it allowed Harry Gant to close right in.
Then that inside groove is just not nearly as good as it was a few laps ago.
No, it's slick down there now, and especially with a car that has as much horsepower as Davey Allison's car does have, it'll break loose very easy when you get down there, as we saw.
And we can see that's taking a little bit of oomph out of Davey Allison. He's backed up 4 or 5 car lengths since he slipped coming off 2. Harry Gant's moved up, trying to take that spot away.
Here's how it happened.
But he gets the nose down under him, or tries to, going into the turn, and Schrader moves up, gives him plenty of room, but Allison steps on the gas, and the back end just breaks loose from him.
I don't think there was any contact. I think he just stepped on the gas and around it went, or started to go around.
Now Harry still looking for the chance to pass Davey. They're alongside.
And Kyle Petty is fun.
Kyle Petty looping in turn number 4. Everybody gets slowed down, and there'll be no other vehicle involved, but Kyle Petty brings out caution number 10.
Myself, that wasn't a very good spot to park.
And look at this. Just before that spin, there was some bumping between Dale Jarrett and Chad Little. And Kyle was right ahead of those 2 cars. And also,
all those cars had to dodge Kyle when he spun.
They just barely got straightened out from their own thing back there when they had to start dodging Kyle.
So 10 caution periods already, and we've only run 186 laps. We are on record-setting pace for number of caution flags. The record number 20, that's held right here at Bristol.
When the job is tough, you need the best. And when you need the best, you reach for channel lock. For the power. The precision. For just plain counting on, there's only one. Channel lock. Be sure you're getting genuine channel lock tools. Look for this trademark.
Where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? So where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? Just about anywhere you want. Put on a set of Goodyear Wrangler radials, and you'll know why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
When trouble with your car has you feeling a little wobbly, hurry into your neighborhood Parts Plus auto parts store, because you can count on the pros at Parts Plus for the right parts the first time and the right prices. During our Repair America sweepstakes, be one of 2 families to win either a 1991 Ford Explorer or Aerostar. Hundreds of other prizes to win, too. Car owners of all ages count on the pros at Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts stores.
Still under caution here at Bristol. Few have made pit stops. Here are the top 10. Ricky Rudd, the leader. Ken Schrader running second. Then Davey Allison, Harry Gant, and Ted Musgrave. 6 through 10 show us that the 55 car, make that the 75 car, running in 6th position. Then comes Mark Martin and Chad Little. Let's go to the pit area and a report on Ricky Rudd.
Well, Bob, what is it? 10th caution of the day, and look up on the scoreboard, 189 laps. We know the drivers riding around at 35 miles an hour. It gives them a lot of chance to talk with their crews and crew chiefs on the radio. Well, Ricky Rudd and Waddell Wilson have been talking, and a little bit ago, Waddell radioed out to Ricky and said, hey, you ever been in a race where there have been so many restarts so early, so fast? Ricky said, no, if I'd have known we were going to have this kind of a race today, I would have asked y'all to put in the drag racing setup.
Good line.
Yeah.
We'll show you from the bumper cam on Dale Jarrett's car how Kyle Petty got loose in turns 3 and 4.
He's right in front of the. We see him up there. There wasn't anybody around. I didn't see any other car around. So, and Kyle goes in, backs it in the fence. There is some pretty good damage to the rear of that mellow yellow Pontiac, the Tom Cruise look-alike.
Still no indication that they'll be going green soon. No word to the drivers yet to begin reformation. So we'll take another break and be back with more of the Valleydale Meats 500.
Through the toughest dirt around, chase the grease and grime right out of town. When you have the toughest stain and it's giving you a pain, zip it off, zip it off.
The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S cleans up on any surface.
Wow!
Nothing beats a winning team, pushing hard, reaching for the dream. Nothing beats clean, crisp and cold. Got the king of beer, you're on a roll. Nothing beats a Bud, Budweiser. Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud. Nothing beats a Bud.
You know, for the smallest jobs to great American homes, the paint more people count on is Sears Weather Beater. Guaranteed to last for 15 years, no matter where you live, no matter what the weather. For the paint, for the craftsman tools, guaranteed to last. Count on Sears, the home of America's craftsmen.
This is the lowest price you'll find on Sears Weather Beater Flat Finish. It's on sale, only $11.99, now at Sears.
No matter how hard you play, you can't beat the financing you've been waiting for. Now at your Suzuki dealer.
ESPN Speed World live coverage today at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee for the Valleydale Meats 500. Right after this race at 4:30 this afternoon here on ESPN, the final round of the Bosch & Loam Championship Women's Tennis from Amelia Island, Florida. It'll be Steffi Graf against Gabriella Sabatini. That's at 4:30 this afternoon, right after our Winston Cup race. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tony Glover.
Ernie Irvin's been in twice during the caution flag. Tony, what were you doing with the car?
Well, we made a little chassis adjustment, and Ernie's tail's getting a little warm, so we put a piece of matting under his seat, but we'll be okay.
Ernie Irvin definitely has a hot seat out there. Apparently, the rear end apparently burning underneath the car. They said Ernie was complaining that it was a little warmer than he wanted to have, so now he's sitting on a little foam rubber cushion. Back to you, Bob.
All right, and we're getting set for the restart. Pace car pulls off the racetrack, and the green flag flies once again. Oh, and Ken Schrader spins right at the starting line. Bangs the inside wall. Stalls near the end of the pit wall as the field will come around again and receive the yellow flag for the 11th time today.
Schrader cannot get the car started to move back to his pits. He makes a pretty heavy contact with that inside wall.
Yes, he did. So he has now gone a lap down. Boy, we said there'd be more action once they got these pit rules where they could make pit stops, and there has been some action, hasn't there? I don't know if that has anything to do with it, which it probably doesn't, but the cars are bunched up.
Yeah, they definitely are. Anytime you got cars bunched, you have stand the chance of a crash, and here is our latest one.
Somewhere from the middle of the pack, Schrader just comes out of there sideways. It's like he just stood on the gas or someone ran the back of him. You can't really tell what happened.
Yeah, I would say he got a little bit of help, Benny.
Well, Kenny's climbed out of the car. It's going to be taken off the racetrack on a wrecker. So the winner of the Atlanta race walks back to the pit area. Ken Schrader out of the action at the moment, at least, here And Jerry punches right there.
First, Kenny, you took quite a lick up there. You okay?
We took a pretty hard hit. I just knocked the air out of me for a minute, but I'm okay.
What actually happened?
You know, I was trying to get in the hole. There probably wasn't enough room, and somebody was trying to keep me in it. NASCAR needs to look at these pit rules. They've really got them messed up now.
Kenny Schrader will let him go down and talk to his crew chief, holding his side a little bit at the rib cage against the right side of the seat when the car spun around. So hopefully he'll go to the infield care center momentarily and get checked out.
He was talking about the odd-even pit rules and the way that the cars line up. What happens is when the odd cars line up on the odd cars, the cars that qualified on the inside rows, the cars qualified on the outside row are designated odd and even. Well, what happens is on the odd row, you have fast cars intermingle with slow cars. On the outside row, you have fast cars intermingle with slow cars. The way it used to be, you always had the slow cars on the inside and the faster cars to the outside. Now they're just wadded up in a group, and that's one problem they're going to have to address.
And Kenny said that he was trying to find a hole. He was trying to get to the inside. Everybody on the restarts have been trying to get back to that inside groove, because up until maybe the last 10 or so laps, the inside groove was the place to be, and apparently that's still where he wanted to be.
Ken Schrader's car is off the racetrack. He is out of the race. We'll be back with more action from Bristol in a moment.
This woman is taking steps to be in the best shape of her life. She's stepping up her cardiovascular fitness while toning problem areas like calves, thighs, hips, buttocks, and waist. It's step training, the hottest new wave in aerobic exercise. And she's using Step Lively to burn more calories for weight loss than swimming, cycling, or even jogging. Here's how. Select a beginning or advanced routine from this exciting workout video. Adjust the Step Lively platform and start stepping to the music. You'll go longer and stronger with a variety of steps. And just 30 minutes every other day can roast off up to 350 calories. Add wrist weights and you've just taken a giant step into advanced calorie cooking aerobics. So take a step in the right direction. Call toll-free now.
Call toll-free 1-800-832-4700. We'll bill your credit card 3 easy payments of $19.95 each. You get a full 60-day home trial with a money-back guarantee. The total price $59.85 plus $7 shipping and handling. Call 1-800-832-4700 now.
The NFL Draft.
Draft day. Ha! Longest day of my life. It isn't official yet, but I think we're going to take you next. And I'm just sitting on the phone like...
Find out who gets the call and which picks will fall. The controversy.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what the draft's all about.
And the anticipation.
Indianapolis selects
of the NFL Draft. Sunday, April 21st, live on ESPN.
The cars have just taken the green flag to resume the racing on the 201st circuit out of 500. Ricky Rudd, the leader of the race. Davey Allison is second, followed by Harry Gant. Running fourth is Mark Martin. Fifth is Ted Musgrave.
And we can see the cars are just a little bit higher, only a couple of feet, but they are higher now than they were lap one.
Yeah, but it's not far enough yet, Benny, that starting on that outside can be good for them. There were a number of cars. Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett got caught up on the outside and lost about 4 or 5 positions on that restart there, both in the even car category.
We're getting closer to the halfway point. To enter the Right Guard Halfway Challenge sweepstakes, call 1-900-420-2222 sometime between now and the 250th lap for a 204. If you're called back during today's race and you can name the driver who has won the Right Guard Halfway Challenge Award, you'll win a new Pontiac Grand Prix SE. The Right Guard Halfway Challenge coming up in just a few laps. The number again, 1-900-420-2222. And that award will be worth $20,000 today because it rolled over from last week when Michael Waltrip was leading at the halfway point. But his team does not participate in that Right Guard Halfway Challenge. 75-19, Joe Ruttman and Chad Little for 6th.
Yeah, Ruttman got a little loose coming off the 2 the last time around. Chad almost got by him, and Ruttman almost lost the car, but he did a good job of holding on to it. Chad Little's running very strong here today.
This has got to be Joe Ruttman's best performance since Daytona when he wound up in 3rd spot.
Most of the NASCAR Winston Cup fans would say, well, Chad Little's supposed to be sponsored by Bullseye. He is at most races, but in a few selected races, his sponsor is Tyson.
And behind those two cars come Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 and Bobby Hillin in number 20.
And right behind him is Darrell Waltrip, Bob. We haven't said much about Darrell Waltrip today. He's one of those even cars that is hitting on the backstretch, but he has been running good. He almost went a lap down when we had that long green flag run, but caution came out and saved him, and since then he has been running very strong.
Darrell Waltrip.
And while we're talking about Waltrip, we mentioned earlier that Michael Waltrip, we saw him get a lap down when he spun out. But he made a green flag pit stop later, so he actually went 2 laps down at one time. He made one of those laps up, but he and Rusty Wallace now are each 1 lap down.
That's right. We haven't said that Rusty Wallace also did make up a lap the last time on the last caution flag.
Darrell Waltrip has won more races here at Bristol than any other driver, 11. And from 1981 through 1984, he put together a string of 7 consecutive wins here at Bristol. Good battle for 2nd spot now as Harry Gant and Davey Allison go at it.
Gant got in this position 4 or 5 laps ago and lost the back end slip coming off turn 2. We're down in turn 1 now, coming off 2 again. The back end slip 4 or 5 laps ago, and Harry just now has caught back up with Davey. Good strong move off turn 2 that time, didn't lose the back end. Here comes Kulwicki. He's on the move. Pulled up on the back of Chad Little.
And Benny, when you consider the fact that they put him in the rear, you know, after those last pit stops, he has come back up through the pack very well.
He's looking inside and outside, goes from high now to the inside of Chad Little. Meanwhile, 2nd place, good battle, and there is Alan Kulwicki who passes Chad Little.
This car is working well today, Alan Kulwicki.
That moves Alan up into 7th position. Chad Little back to 8th.
9th is Bobby Hillin. Darrell Waltrip is 10th. Dale Jarrett 11th. In 12th place will be Terry Labonte. The Ernie Irvin car being 13th. Rick Mast 14th.
And a great run for Ted Musgrave. Boy, you just can't say enough about this guy who's come from the ASA ranks, as so many of today's Winston Cup drivers have, and he is putting on a great performance. But look at the pressure now being put on Joe Ruttman by Alan Kulwicki. Again, Alan looks high. Ooh, and he makes contact.
And going by on the outside. Joe realized he was out there. Did not move the car up off turn 2, and Alan takes a spot away from Ruttman.
Well, I tell you, that's the mark of a good handling car. But here comes Chad Little. He's going to try that, too. He saw it worked for Kulwicki. He said, well, let me try that.
And he's not going to be as successful.
Nope.
Clouding up. Weatherman said a 50% chance of rain this afternoon. We started this event under bright sunshine, but now it's clouded up. The forecast is for, although a 50% chance of rain, not until later this afternoon. So we have a pretty good chance of getting this race in its entirety. But nevertheless, it is much cloudier and windier than it was earlier.
We see Kulwicki dispensing those fellas, and now he's moving up on Musgrave. Only a few car lengths behind. What's that? 3 or 4 car lengths behind Ted. Both these drivers, products of the ASA, they run racetracks like this all year long. Salem, Indiana, Winchester, Indiana, tracks that are very similar to the Bristol layout. High bank, half-mile speedways.
Let's take a look at how Ted has moved up through the field. At the 50th lap, he was 19th. He was 12th at the end of 100, 6th at the end of 175, and now on the 221st circuit, he has moved all the way up to 5th.
Let's give a call to his sponsor, Alka-Seltzer. That's normally Jimmy Mean's sponsor. Jimmy did not make the field here, so he agreed to move the sponsorship over to Ted Musgrave's car, and there the Alka-Seltzer is getting passed by the Hooters car.
So into 5th position goes Alan Kulwicki. Kulwicki to 5th, Musgrave to 6th. There were a couple of drivers who were going for milestones here this weekend. J.D. McDuffie wanted to make his 650th Winston Cup race, and Jimmy Means was trying to make his 450th, and neither one of them qualified fast enough to make the field. Here's Harry Gant once again, and the race with Davey Allison for second spot.
Man, I think Harry's been held up right now. I believe if he gets by Davey, he'll go on right up to Rudd.
I think you're right. But he's just having a tough time getting around Davey Allison. Davey has so much horsepower on the straightaway. Once he pushes that gas and gets traction, he takes off. See there, he pulls away about a car length down the backstretch. Gant seems to pull in a little bit on the turn. Mickey Gibbs coming into the pits in car number 24. Probably an unscheduled pit stop for him. Left side tires going on the Team 3 Pontiac.
You know, guys, in previous races, you come to Bristol, you think that you're going to see a lot of tire smoke, a lot of guys smoking that right rear tire. We haven't seen a whole lot of that this weekend. Any particular reason, you think?
I think it's the sealer they put on the Speedway since our race here last. Evidently, both right side tires are getting an equal grip and not smoking either front or rear.
That's a good point. They have put a new sealer on this racetrack. It's a very, very smooth surface that they run on here at Bristol, thus the high speeds. Dale Jarrett right behind Ernie Irvin in the Kodak car.
That's 10th spot. Ernie Irvin in 10th spot. Dale back in 11th.
Irvin on the high side of Mickey Gibbs. He and Bobby Hillen are side by side at number 20.
Now Gibbs just came out of the pits with new left side tires. Should help him a little bit. He does move around Hillen with no problem.
And so does Ernie Irvin.
So that puts Ernie up. I said he was 10th a moment ago. He's now 10th once he got by Hillen. This is from the Sitco bumper cam of Dale Jarrett. He was inside of the 20 car and thought he was going to try it again.
He just couldn't get traction off of turn 2 over there. He was all the way down on the inside of him, but it just couldn't quite make it work.
Looks like he has position on him now. Nope.
Harry Gant still trying to move around Davey Allison.
While they battle for second, the lead continues to be held by Ricky Rudd.
And he is a car ahead of him, Bob. I'll say that 3 car lengths ahead of Davey Allison.
And he's approaching slower traffic. Just ahead is Kyle Petty, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine. And yes, we classified Dale Earnhardt in the slower traffic category because he suffered a crash earlier in the event and is way back in 27th position. We'll be right back.
The other day I get in my car, won't start. No small problem, right? Well, I figure it's the battery, so I go down to the AutoZone and I tell him what I need. The guy says to me, let's check the old one first. It might not be your problem. Turns out he was right. All I needed was a new battery cable. Talk about saving money. Now you tell me, would another parts store done that? They made sure I got exactly what I needed. Now I'll remember that. Believe me, I will.
Fact. The full-size Ford has been the best-selling pickup in America for the past 14 years. Fact. Ford has the best full-size pickup value in America today. With AM/FM stereo, special wheels, and low-mount mirrors. This Ford is hundreds less than a comparably equipped Chevy or Dodge. Call it leadership. Call it winning. With values like this, it's no wonder more people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan. Good battle up front. They're the first 3 cars as they pass Jeff Bodine. It's Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, and Harry Gant.
Allison and Gant have pulled up on the back of Rudd, so Rudd not as strong as he was 10-15 laps ago. Rudd's hunting around the racetrack. You saw him that time. He came off turn 4 a little bit lower. Now he's up higher in turn. He's hunting for a groove. That means that the car is not feeling just exactly right to him, and he's hunting for that perfect way, that best line around the racetrack.
Here comes Harry to the inside of Davey off the 4th corner. Harry a little bit squirrely coming off there and lost because of it, but he kept 3rd position and now puts the heat right back on Davey. try it again. Trying to go alongside, but cannot do it.
And what Rudd's looking for is just, not that he's looking for a better lap. All he's looking for is a half a tenth a second, 0.05 of a second, 1/10 of a second.
All right, let's look now at our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. Now, we timed 5 consecutive laps, laps 222 to 226. We timed Ricky Rudd and the guy that we think might be the fastest car on the racetrack, Alan Kulwicki, and you can see how their times compared. And notice that there was a 3.6-second interval on lap 222, and that shrank to 3.4 by the 226th lap. But you can see that basically the cars are running about the same speed. Kulwicki maybe just a little bit faster than Ricky.
And that's exactly what he's looking for. In looking for that extra groove is that other half a tenth of a second, 0.05 of a second.
Rusty Wallace in the fifth, but one thing that affected Alan Kulwicki is the fact that he was coming through traffic and still, maybe showing just a tick faster. So I think he really does have the faster car. Here's Rusty Wallace in the pits, going back out now on that scheduled pit stop for him.
But that crewman looked like when he was finished with that car that they didn't fix it. He had a strange look about him, like that there was nothing wrong. Why is he in there? And there the leaders go by Rusty. Rusty desperately needs to get back by then to try to save a lap.
Yeah, he is at least 2 laps going down.
We're only 3.5 laps away from the right guard halfway challenge lap.
$100,000 to the leader of the halfway.
Again, the number to dial 1-900-420-2222. Do it quickly.
And Harry Gant gets by Davey Allison for second place.
Finally, after laps and laps of trying, Harry Gant is second.
But here comes Davey Allison back on the inside, but can he make it stick? No, the car just wouldn't get the traction he needed off of that turn. The same problem Harry Gant had been having.
2 laps to the halfway mark. Ricky Rudd is the leader of the race right now. The number 6 car of Mark Martin still certainly very much in this race. He is in 4th position. There's lap 249. 1 more lap and we'll reach the halfway point.
Look at Harry Gant make a real hard effort trying to get up there, but he's got 2 car lengths to make up now in a half a lap.
Here comes Ricky Rudd off the 3rd and 4th corners. And Ricky Rudd wins the Halfway Challenge Award, $20,000.
Now, excuse me, Bob, but the reason it's $20,000 is last week Michael Walters was the leader at the halfway point. He did not have a decal on. He couldn't collect the $10,000, so the Gillette people rolled it over to this week.
That's Strickland coming in with the flat tire on his car.
The name you have to know when the call comes to you, if it does, is Ricky Rudd. He takes home the $20,000 Right Guard Halfway Challenge Award. If you've entered the contest and you're called back, you can win that Pontiac Grand Prix SE by telling them that Ricky Rudd was leader at the halfway point.
Now, boy, here is a big traffic jam. Kyle Petty up on the outside there. He is laps down after spinning out and hitting the wall, but there's a lot of cars, like 10 or 12 cars in a row. Alan Kulwicki at the head of that pack trying to move around Jeff Bodine. But there is Brent Bodine. Ted Musgrave is in there. So is Joe Ruttman and Chad Little. Darrell Waltrip has caught up to that pack. And right behind them is Ernie Irvin. A lot of cars. Dale Jarrett has caught up to him. Rick Mast and Terry Labonte back there at the back end of that pack.
Harry Gant making a bid for the lead on Ricky Rudd. Rudd involved in some traffic here as Dick Trickle is in the 34 car to the inside and Sterling Marlin in the 22 car to the outside.
Something happened. Alan Kulwicki has blown an engine. He now has hit the wall. Maybe he didn't blow an engine. Something happened. There was smoke coming from it. Then all of a sudden, it must have been a flat tire. Left front tire apparently was flat and just shot him into the wall.
So Alan Kulwicki is at the apron of the racetrack, the bottom of turn number 2, and the yellow flag comes out for the 12th time today. Too bad, because Alan was moving up through the field very, very nicely.
He really was. He had a good, fast race car. Okay, the pits are open, and Davey Allison is the first car to come into the pits.
Let's go to John Kernan.
We're anticipating a 4-tire change. Davey has no. Larry McReynolds is crew chief, second race on the team as the crew chief. At the track felt just a little bit breezy to him.
So he said what they would do is reduce the air pressure in the tires 2 to 3 pounds to make up for that. Again, we are using Bias Fly tires this week, so the stagger does come into play. Rusty Wallace, who's also back into the pits.
Sterling Marlin also pitted up toward turn number 4.
Okay, 5's going to pit.
Rusty Wallace, we see him there changing the left side, so they haven't put gas in the car because they don't have any gas there. They've frantically been running with the fuel back to the car, but they did not make it. No gasoline.
Here comes Ricky Rudd and Harry Gant into the pits, and here is how Alan Kwiatkowski, you could almost see the car drop down a little bit coming out of turn number 4, and it went into the wall in turn number 1. Rudd, the leader of the race, making a pit stop just past the halfway mark at 2:57. Going to work on the left side of that machine now.
And that's something new. I noticed that Carlton and Rudd's crew, the tire changers are wearing helmets.
Good idea. 26.8-second pit stop for Ricky Rudd, and he goes back out onto the racetrack, but Harry Gant will beat him out.
Yes, he did. Harry Gant made an even better pit stop and is out in front of Rudd. Of course, they are both going to be back in the pack a little bit as a result of them being on the even situation, and the odd numbers came in first and got out first, of course.
There is Mark Martin and Harry Gant. Bill Elliott there in the Coors Light Ford. Now we'll go back and see if we can determine when the tire might have let go on Allen's car.
Well, it started going flat long before this because he backed off, and there we see the smoke coming out from the car when it's went flat, and he goes in the corner and just simply will not turn, and into the wall he goes. And I just got to say, Kwiatkowski is having a hard time catching a break this year.
We are under caution for the 12th time this afternoon here at Bristol International Raceway as we bring you live coverage of the Valleydale Meats 500.
Top of the line parts.
The red, blue, and white.
Expert advice.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Auto Parts store.
Keeps your car running right.
Where the pros go for auto parts.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, Joe Ruttman is stopped at the start-finish line, and he's being held there so he won't gain an entire lap on the field.
Yeah, he didn't beat the pace car out of the pits on the back, Bob, and so they're holding there to take away the lap, really, that he gained by going ahead. So
this isn't really a penalty. It just keeps him from gaining a full lap advantage on the field.
Yeah, if they don't let him go pretty soon, it's going to be a penalty.
There he goes. Now they continue to work on Ken Schrader's car. Remember, he was involved in one of the earlier crashes. They continue to work on the left rear of that machine, trying to get it back in the race so that Ken can pick up as many extra bonus Winston Cup points as possible.
And that's strange. They're working on the left side. I think he hit the wall with the right side, but he probably has broken the Panhard bar or the rear sway bar, and they're working over on the left side trying to attach it over there.
And there is more indication of how rough this race has been as Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick goes onto the racetrack with a lot of bent sheet metal, and here is some on the Kyle Petty machine.
That looks just like one of the Days of Thunder cars, doesn't it?
12 cars on the lead lap now. After all of the
NASCAR officials, we saw him waving behind Kyle's car. That was telling the field, we're not going back green. We are not going back green. What this
probably aren't happy with the way they're lined up to take the green.
Well, Chad Little's in the lead now, fellas. And the car number 19 as Mark Martin peels off to come into the pits. And they are being able to signal now one more lap.
Mark was in 5th position, but relinquishes it now to come in for another pit stop. Going to change tires on the left side of the car.
Oh, I see they've got a fender rubbing the tire. We see Steve Meal, the team manager, in there with a big sledgehammer beating that fender away. And now it looks like they're going to put the same tire back on the left front. Maybe he made some contact trying to jockey for position on the restart and knock the fender in.
Very possible.
Okay, this time we should be going back to green. This will be lap 263. Jimmy Spencer on the outside and Chad Little on the inside.
Now, Jimmy Spencer's at least a lap down, Bob. He had made a green flag pit stop. He actually might be 2 laps down.
Yes, he is. 2 laps down. So the green comes out, and Chad Little is the leader of this race as Jimmy Spencer takes his car up way high in the racetrack. Now he'll try to get 1 of the 2 laps back from Chad.
Ricky Rudd and Davey Allison, 2 cars that have consistently been up front all day long. Spencer's on the inside. Let's see if he can make it stick.
Again, this will be to get 1 of 2 laps back. Takes it in hard in turn number 1, right alongside the leader. They make contact, and he does get the lap back.
And Michael Waltrip got back in the lead lap.
And now Harry Gant battles for the lead alongside of Chad Little, and Harry is going to take the advantage.
Here comes Ricky Rudd trying to get on the inside of Chad Little. He can't make it. Rudd cannot get by. But meanwhile, you're right. Michael Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer both are in the lead lap. Here comes Rudd on the inside of Chad. Has position now.
Here's Rudd now trying to move on the inside a little, and looked like, well, there was some smoke out of Little's car. It could have been tire smoke as he went high. Now Davey Allison going by, Ernie Irvin about to go by, and right behind him is Darrell Waltrip. Dale Jarrett right on Darrell Waltrip's bumper as we look out the windshield of Ernie Irvin's car.
Just checking my records, I believe that was the first time that Chad Little had ever led a Winston Cup race. He isn't in the lead right now, but he did have it there for a couple of laps.
You see Harry Gant right up on top of the screen as you look out the windshield of Ernie Irvin's Kodak Film Chevrolet, trying to put Michael Waltrip a lap down.
Michael has had a fast car. He made a green flag pit stop and then lost a lap early in the race in a spin out, but now has worked his way back to the lead lap. He can keep Harry Gant behind him. Right.
Doesn't look too
promising. No, Gant's car just wouldn't get the bike coming off of that turn that he needed. Jimmy Spencer pulled away from them. Rick Mast was just in for an unscheduled pit stop. Dick Trickle also going into the pits on the backstretch.
Now Harry bumps with Michael Waltrip in the second corner and tries to put Michael a lap down again.
I think he's got the position this time.
Yep.
Michael won't give up, though.
Well, he's hanging right up there. Harry gave him the running room. He'll get it this time. There he goes.
Here's the battle for second. Rudd and Davey Allison and Ernie Irvin. 3 cars.
As he tries to get alongside Davey Allison. Kyle Petty up on the high side. We talked about Kyle back in the fence earlier on. Some damage to that car, so therefore he's not at full speed.
The first 6 cars are running right together there as Ricky Rudd tries to move on the inside of the Michael Waltrip car. Again, is pulled out now while they battle behind the 30 car of Michael Waltrip. He's pulled out a little bit of a lead, but then you have Rudd, Davey Allison, Ernie Irvin, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett. That's the first 6 cars.
We haven't talked very much today about Darrell Waltrip, but I'm telling you, he's right there in contention.
He really is. He's on the scoreboard now in 5th position. He's one of those cars that is an even number hitting on the backstretch, which certainly hitting on the backstretch is a disadvantage. So is Dale Jarrett in the same position.
We're watching from Dale Jarrett Citgo bumper cam. Just ahead is Darrell Waltrip.
Looks like these cars are fairly evenly matched now. No one seems to have an advantage other than Harry Gant, and he's pulled out to a 8 or 10 car length advantage. But these cars are running together now. Seems to be awfully even.
There's Harry. He shows the way here with 279 laps completed in the Valleydale Meats 500.
Here goes Ernie taking a look. Not able to get by Davey.
Try it again.
Didn't work that time either. Shall we try again? Oh, why not?
Sure. We're having fun. But it can't get that traction down on the inside.
Now he draws alongside, almost completely alongside of Davey. And they battle wheel to wheel into the second turn.
We might get him now this time, fellas, going into turn 3. He's up a little bit further than he's been being. That might be enough, if he can get the traction.
Well, he's doing this an inch at a time, isn't he, man?
Yeah, that's tough pass. That's the way you have to do it here, but you have to work and work and work.
He got a little sideways there out of 4, but held on.
Well, but he got sideways also coming off of 2. And
even more sideways.
Yeah, broke that traction, so he wasn't able to make the pass.
By Lake Speed's car, he was another car injured. Car was injured in an early accident. Of course, all these cars have been in an earlier accident, haven't they?
Most of them, that's true.
Our Western Auto race recap shows that Harry Gant leads the event. He's led 8 of the 270 laps, 12 caution periods so far for a total of 68 laps. We have 11 cars that are on the lead lap, and the average speed of the event is down at 75.35 miles an hour. Those that have picked up 5 Winston bonus points include Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Ernie Irvin, Harry Gant, Ken Schrader, and Chad Little. Those are the guys that have led at least 1 lap. And believe it or not, despite all the bumping and banging and crashing, only 3 cars are officially out of the race. Terry Cope, Rick Wilson, and Bobby Hamilton. The Western Auto Mechanic of the Year. Oh, we have a spin in turn number 4 as we see Waddell Wilson leads the Mechanic of the Race point standings at the moment, followed by Larry McReynolds, Tony Glover, Andy Petrie, and Danny Glad. Richard Petty spun in turn 4, bringing out caution number 13.
And Jeff Bodine got into him in the Budweiser Ford, and Harry Gant almost got into Jeff Bodine as they were coming down to the start and finish line. Boy, you can see the damage on the Budweiser Ford.
And Michael Waltrip was able to pass Harry and get his lap back. So. And what happened to Richard was, I think that he and the 20 car of Bobby Hillen made some contact up in 3 and 4. Richard spun around, and Jeff Bodine came along with no place to go except in the side of Richard Petty's car, and that's where he went.
And he gets the car down into his pit area, and they'll assess it. Jerry, what's it look like?
Well, it's hard to imagine this was a Ford Thunderbird when the day began. In fact, Tim Brewer told me about 100 laps ago, so we may run out of sheet metal before we run out of laps. But they have certainly had their work cut out for them. They had this car all bandaged, a big bungee cord across the hood to keep the big hood down, but now serious damage to the right front of the car. And the crew, Tim Brewer and Keith Wright to the right of the car, Mike Hill, they will take the sledgehammer and begin to try to maybe peel some of the sheet metal away. A tough break for Jeff Bodine. Junior Johnson's cars, have won so many times here, 21 times in fact, and now they will take the bigger sledgehammer and do some fine tuning on the right side of the body. Tough break for Jeff Bodine.
Jeff recorded his first top 10 finish of the year last week at Darlington. John Kernan reports the pit stop by Chad Little.
Chad Little had even led for at one point. He was sliding back in the field. He did not come and change tires under that last caution. The car was loose. No, they got a good break here with the caution flag coming out. Chad coming in, taking on 4 tires and a round of wedge in the left rear.
He's one of those pitted on the backstretch. There's Mark Martin, who has come in for a pit stop just ahead of Jeff Bodine, who remains on pit road. 13 caution periods so far. Again, the record number was set here 2 years ago in this race, a Winston Cup record of 20. We'll be back in just a moment.
Ever
wonder what Darrell does when he's not racing?
I'm at Western Auto kind of checking things out, and you should too. Hey, guys.
Hi, Darrell.
Because now you can enter our exciting We Win, You Win $1 Million Racing Sweepstakes. There's monthly drawings for Chevy Luminas, race trips, plus, if I win the championship, one of you will win $1 million.
While you're at Western Auto, pick up a Delco Freedom 60 battery for just $44.99. Delco Freedom 60 battery. It's like buying time.
You do look good in cardboard.
It's tough enough to take you 250,000 miles. Tough enough to take you from Akron to Atlanta, on to Fort Worth and Fargo.
It's the Quaker State Guarantee. A guarantee so tough, your new car's engine is protected against oil-related breakdowns for 250,000 miles or 10 years.
Hartford to Hollywood.
Enroll free at your Quaker State Service Center. You could run out of roads before you run out of Quaker State protection, because Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
This is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks on the road. And this is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks to the road, where it ultimately responds through the contact patch of its Goodyear Eagle tires. The exclusive tires chosen for every Testarossa sold in America. Goodyear Eagles. They're another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
If your car pulls to one side, if your steering wheel is off-center, your car could be out of alignment. At Midas, trained professionals with the latest technology align your car right. Midas realigns foreign cars and light trucks, too, the right way. Before your tires show uneven wear, have your alignment checked, or you could be shortening tire life and taking risks. You see, we're serious about safety. Hey, nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Back at Bristol International Raceway in the Valleydale Meats 500, live today here on ESPN. At the top of the show, we talked about how some drivers have showed their true colors on this racetrack, and careers have been launched here. We've seen great performances by a couple of drivers who are just beginning their careers, so to speak. Ted Musgrave has had a good run, and so has this man, Chad Little, at number 19. Here's John Kernan.
Standing by with crew chief Cliff Champion. Cliff, a really great run out there today. Maybe a little surprise to the people watching us that Chad's up front as he is.
Well, it probably is a surprise to the people watching, but it really wasn't too big of a surprise to us because we run good. We came here and tested a couple of weeks ago, ran real good. We came here getting ready for qualifying. The car was running excellent then, and we had some bad luck of having a tire go down in qualifying. So we knew we were going to run good today.
I understand you think you might be able to make it the rest of 200 some laps without stopping for fuel, is that right?
Well, it looks like it right now, but our tires may fall off enough. If they have a caution, we'll probably have to pit anyway. If it stays green, we plan on going all the way right now.
Well, that type of strategy, if the tires do hold out, if they can go the distance, gentlemen, that's a long way to go. He may wind up in victory lane this afternoon. Another surprise.
I think he can safely depend on the caution flag, don't you, Bob?
Yeah, I think we'll probably have at least one more before this race is over. Now they're starting to line up here for a restart. Again, the drivers are given the 2 more laps to go signal nowadays so that they can start lining up for the restart. And now the 1 to go signal is being given. So watch now for your favorite driver as he comes through the screen, and you can see where he is running on the racetrack and where he will be lining up to take the green flag again.
There's Bill Elliott, who was involved in an earlier crash. There's Harry Gant, the leader of the race going to this caution flag. He qualified in the even rows or the outside rows. He therefore has to restart the race from that position. But he is the boss. He's able to go whenever he feels like hitting the accelerator, and the 28 car of Davey Allison has to follow his lead.
Pace car comes down off the 36-degree banking, and the green comes out.
Well, Davey beat Harry across the start-finish line at that time.
After I said all that, Davey beat Harry.
I thought there for a while that Harry was just leading him down for a slow start, but I think maybe there's something wrong with that car. Look at this, 3 abreast through the 4th.
Yeah, I think there is something wrong with the Gant car. He is definitely off the pace.
Boy, how did they survive that 3 abreast there in the 4th turn?
And he can't get to the inside. He probably wants to go to the pits, but he can't get to the inside. He'll have to wait another lap before he can get to the inside.
And he is going to the back as everybody is coming around him. There's Richard Petty and Sterling Marlin going to the inside, dropping Harry back even further in the field.
Now finally he can get down to the inside, and he's throwing down the back straightaway. I would expect he's going in the pits.
He's slowing, dropping to the apron. Here comes Harry Gant in for an unscheduled pit stop. Here's Jerry Punch.
A flat right side tire for the former leader here at Bristol, Tennessee. Tough break for the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile crew as Andy Petrie and them will try to hustle under the green flag and change the right side tires. Gant now goes one lap down. They're still working on the right side of the car, trying to get the right side tires on. Gant sitting patiently in the car. Jack pulled away, and Gant is away.
Big crash in turn 2. Chad Little and Mickey Gibbs among others involved.
Michael Waltrip was involved. All of the cars now moving away, Bob, but there's a lot of smoke coming from several of them. There's looking to see the damage from Chad Little's car.
We just talked about how Chad had big hopes here of finishing high up. He has a lot of damage to that car, though, as the sheet metal is bent back and rubbing on both front tires.
Boy, I tell you, the name of the game here today is survival.
Yep, that's for sure.
Of course, that is not that unusual at Bristol. That has always been the case here, Benny, when you were racing and even when I was racing years ago.
There we see the front of Michael Waltrip's car. Here's the tail end of the crash, and we can see Michael Waltrip with no place to go runs in the front of the Chad Little car, and Mickey Gibbs is down on the inside. As to what triggered it, I really don't know. Cliff Champion, good news, bad news. You got the caution flag.
Yeah, but you caused it.
That's right.
Black flag is being displayed to Chad. He'll have to come in and have that car checked over. Well, I think you guys can be credited with speaking from authority when you talk about Bristol International Raceway, because Ned Jarrett was the winner of the summer race here in 1965, and Benny was the winner of the second race, the summer event, in I wrote 73 down, but that can't be right, was it?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Don't tell everybody I'm so old.
Now here is Harry Gant up high on the racetrack, stacking everybody up, but still, although they came there through there 3 abreast, they survived.
Well, they did for a while, and then a couple of laps later, the 1924 got together somehow.
So Chad Little has heeded the black flag and come in to his pit stop on the backstretch. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's there with Harry Gant.
Harry Gant back in now for left side tires. What a tough break. He had a right side tire going down. He lost only 1 lap. In fact, if there would be a break for Harry, it was when the caution came out and when he was about to go second lap down, and he only lost the 1 lap in the pits for the green flag stop. He's down and away, now has 4 fresh tires, so watch for him to possibly make a move to try to get that lap back.
All right, Gant back out on the racetrack. Under our 14th caution flag of the afternoon, Michael Waltrip is behind the wall as they continue to work on that car, trying to get it back into the race. We'll take another break and be back with more of our live coverage of the Valleydale Meats 500. We've completed 303 laps.
You know, recycling has given trash a whole new meaning.
That's the idea, John.
The Rubbermaid 32-gallon wheel trash can, only $9.97, and a 4 cubic foot wheelbarrow is just $19.99.
Does that make garbage garbage?
Beats me.
One car manufacturer has more NASCAR victories than anyone. Winning over 350 NASCAR races, over 4 decades of racing. That car manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
There aren't any fax machines or PCs to help you at this job. And your career path is largely determined by the mood of your horse. So why would anyone choose to work up here in the mountains? Maybe it's the fringe benefits.
Top-of-the-line parts, expert advice. That's your Big A Auto Parts store.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car
have just taken the green flag. They're on the backstretch, having taken the green on lap 3:05.
Wow.
Paint being traded over there in the fourth turn.
Hutch Strickland got caught in the middle of the racetrack, and they went by on both sides, rubbing sheet metal as they went.
Wow. There's the leader, Davey Allison. Second place is Ricky Rudd. Third is Ernie Irvin.
Is this about the race that Davey took over the lead last year in this race?
Maybe a little bit later, because he went all the way and didn't make a pit stop for the last 175 or 80 laps or so.
Well, he just about lost the lead right there as Ricky Rudd moved in on him, pulled alongside, but Davey held off the challenge, and now Ernie Irvin becomes involved in this battle for the lead.
Hutch Strickland apparently had a flat tire there. He came into the pits, and that was the reason he slowed there a moment ago. He's back out now.
Fourth car in line there is Rusty Wallace, who is several laps down. He is 2 laps down in 14th position. He's, of course, the driver eligible for the Unicount bonus money, which this week amounted to $22,800, but undoubtedly not winning. Here's Ernie Irvin taking a look. Challenge on Ricky Rudd for second.
Rusty's got a pretty quick car, but I tell you, he's got his work cut out for him to pass 3 of these guys to get back one of his laps. Here comes Ricky.
Now Rudd challenging Allison for the lead. Nope. Inside Ernie Irvin's car.
There we see Ernie. We hear Ernie on and off the throttle, on and off the throttle. Just can't get a grip well enough to go to the mat and hold it there.
Yeah, he's definitely feathering it off of the turn. So get the bike that he would like to have.
The 22 car of Sterling Marlin is on the lead lap. That's unbelievable after all he's gone through. He's still on the lead lap? He's on the lead lap in 9th position, believe it or not. Boy, you got to give a call to him.
And his crew.
Yeah. Ahead of him on the racetrack, there's Terry Labonte and Mark Martin. Mark Martin is also on the lead lap, as is Labonte, 7th and 8th position here. There's Harry Gant, who is back on the racetrack after the unscheduled pit stop. Just ahead of him is the 55 car of Ted Musgrave, the Alka-Seltzer-sponsored car this weekend. There you can see Alan Kowicki back on the racetrack after a crash. And let's also not forget about Dale Jarrett, who is on the lead lap, and as a matter of fact is in 5th position. He's certainly in a position to win this race.
Well, he's had a good run today, Bob. He has been fortunate to stay out of trouble so far. He almost got in trouble a couple of laps ago. He got it completely sideways off of turn 2. If he would have been in the pits, they'd have penalized him 5 laps because he was that sideways, but he got it squared away and kept going.
And just ahead of Dale Jarrett is the 98 car of Jimmy Spencer. Now, he is a lap down in 10th position. The 15 and 17 cars, that's Morgan Shepherd in number 15, and he is 3 laps down. And here now, a battle for the lead once again. And a battle for 2nd position as Allison, Irvin, and Rudd go at it. Rudd takes over, rather drops back to 3rd, and Irvin goes to 2nd.
Yeah, he was trying to get the lead coming off of turn 4, and Ernie Irvin seized the opportunity when Rudd slipped a little bit and moved up into 2nd.
And we remember how much luck Ernie had getting by the 28 several laps ago. Did he ever pass him?
I don't think so.
Darrell Waltrip, number 17. He is in 4th position, and look at his progression through the field from 22nd to 14th at the end of 175 to 8th at the end of 250 laps, the halfway mark, and now with 322 laps completed, he is up to 4th. But up in front, it is still Davey Allison and Ernie Irvan. Ernie looking to the inside off of 4. Can't make the pass.
He'll try it down in 1 and 2 as he looks on the inside. Gets up to the left rear. Yep, as far as he can get.
Had a good run coming off the corner, but could not pass Davey Allison and take over the lead. Is this it? Nope, nope. So right now, Allison has the lead, and if we do have a change of position, you will see it in replay when we come back to Bristol International Raceway in East Tennessee.
You were just lucky today. Hey, I've been working on it. You know how I hate to lose. You know what else? I hate losing my hair. Me too. That's why I did something about it. I called up John. They sent me a brochure. I went to see my doctor. It was definitely a smart move. Now I feel great. I think I still have it. Upjohn even sent me $10 after I saw my doctor. Here it is.
Only your doctor has hair loss treatment programs proven to work. To receive your $10 certificate, names of doctors in your area who can recommend what's best for you, and a free brochure describing your options, call 1-800-677-3339.
Not bad. Maybe I'll call him. What do you mean, maybe? Come on, there's the number. Go do it. All right. I'll call.
For your $10 certificate, simply call toll-free 1-800-677-3339. Because the sooner you act, the sooner you could see results. So call right now.
Let's stretch and flex. Come on, you can do it. What could feel better than getting fit in the great outdoors? Hi, I'm Denise Austin. Join me weekdays on ESPN.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the Winston Cup Valleydale Meats 500 at the end of 330 laps. It's Davey Allison, Ernie Irvan, Ricky Rudd, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Jarrett running in 5th position. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Citgo, home of high-quality gasoline with HTA 1000 Super Detergent. By Channel Lock, made in America for you who want the best. And by Robert Bosch Corporation, makers of Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug. They continue to run in the same order. Ernie Irvan has made several challenges in the last couple of laps on Davey Allison for the lead, but he has been unable to take over that position, and Ricky Rudd has stayed back in 3rd spot. Now he's going to make another bend. Here's Irvan pulling alongside, almost at the line.
Can't do it. Had to try it again. Down in turn 1. But look at him come off of turn 2, lose that traction. David just drive right on the way.
Good gracious.
I really don't know how these fellas have run as side by side as much as they have and not crashed. I really don't understand it.
They made a neat move there on Hut Strickland, who was at the low side of the racetrack.
But then that groove has really moved up now. You can see Ernie get down on the inside, but he can't get traction down there. The high groove is the place to be right now. Uncle Walter put the hood up, going on the back stretch right in front of the leader. The heart of his hood up.
Kyle Petty loses another lap. Kyle is back in 21st position. He's about 9 laps behind the leader right now. Out of race, behind the wall, Derek Coates, Rick Wilson, and Bobby Hamilton. Several others are behind the wall, getting worked on, but are not necessarily out of the race. Ken Schrader and Dick Trickle have called it a day.
There goes Ernie again. He keeps looking on the inside, coming off the corner, and Davey up high, gets that traction, gets the acceleration, and motors back behind down the straightaway.
Well, we've talked so many times this year about what a difference a year makes between 1990 and 1991 for Ernie Irvan. We asked him, what's different about your driving style in the past 12 months from 90 to 91?
Well, I got a little saying that I've been saying ever since the Bristol race here. I won this race, the nighttime race here at Bristol, from being patient. And I went to Darlington, and I was patient. Ran second. Should have won the race. We go to Dover. I wasn't patient. I busted my butt trying to, stay up with cars, And so I got a saying that is that patience is the hardest thing to get and the easiest thing to forget. And I think this year I've learned a lot of patience. I forgot it at Atlanta, but that's only 1 out of 5 now. So I figured I'm doing pretty good. But patience is the key to this racing. But you got to be patient and aggressive. And you watch Dale Earnhardt. He's real patient when he needs to be. He's real aggressive when he needs to be.
Ernie Irvan, I think, can also add the word maturity to that little phrase that he has, because he's matured a lot as a race driver in the past 12 months.
As he was saying that, I thought that bike played so well because he has been so patient these last 4 or 5 laps. He could have leaned on Davey Allison several times, and maybe he could have gotten by, but maybe they would have crashed. So,
in any case, Davey Allison continues to hang on to the lead. Snapshot once again. Let the entire field pass through the camera to allow you to see who all is still out there and how far they might be behind the leader. Allison coming on corner number 4 now. He's going to stop the clock at 17.6 seconds.
They've been running anywhere from about 17.5 to 17.6, 6.5, so they've been pretty consistent in that area.
That's 109.092 miles an hour, so it's just a tick of the watch slower than the lap we timed several laps ago. We'll be back after this to Bristol, Tennessee.
Wow, I feel good. Knew that I would.
20 times last year, the world's best top fuelers fired it up in the final. And all 20 times, the outcome was exactly the same.
I feel good.
Every single NHRA winner was powered by the same spark plug.
So good. So good.
Autolite, we feel pretty good about that.
Wow, I feel good.
Think I'll ever drive a car as fast as you?
Well, maybe. If you don't do drugs or alcohol or drop out of school.
Promise we won't.
Okay, then let's make a deal. A contract.
Get your own contract at any Citgo gasoline retailer. Mail it back and you'll get Dale's official poster. Plus, a chance to meet him at a real NASCAR race.
And performer for America.
Without drugs or alcohol.
Get your contract at Citgo today.
Back at Bristol International Raceway, where Ernie Irvan has fallen from second position. Ricky Rudd is now in second behind the leader Davey Allison, and for a while it appeared as if something seriously was wrong with Irvan's car, but he seems to be back on the pace now.
Yeah, he probably felt the car slip a little bit, thought he had a tire going down, and was just wanted to get back there and get a feel of it, just see how it was. Or maybe it's that patience that he was talking about, Benny.
I think he's probably now letting his tires cool. He heated them up pretty good, spinning the rear wheels and whatever. He got the tires pretty hot. I think now he's just back there letting them cool. He'll be up there making a run again. I'm like you. I thought he had a flat tire when he first fell back, but now I think he simply was letting his tires cool and showing that patience.
And one of the cars that we showed you a few minutes ago that was behind the wall is back out on the racetrack. That's Ken Schrader.
Ted Musgrave just made a pit stop. One of the drivers that we've been talking about having a super run here this afternoon.
There is Ken Schrader back on the track after a crash that put him into the front stretch wall earlier in the event. So Ken Schrader's back in competition, trying to gain as many points as he can.
Now Ricky Rudd trying to take a look on the inside of the 28 car of Davey Allison. You still want to call that tire machine Darrell Walker, Bob?
I mean, more what? 6 races into the season now.
And Ernie Irvan went awfully high off of 2, really slowed down again. Darrell Walker has caught up to him now.
Here comes Ricky. He is alongside Davey. I thought he was going to get him, but he has to fall back behind him.
Darrell Walter trying to take over third from Ernie Irvan. Couldn't quite do it. Irvan really dropped back the last time around, but now seems to have it going again. But
Well, congratulations to Kelly Claiborne, 29 years old of Grover City, California. Today's winner in the Right Barn Halfway Challenge sweepstakes. She correctly named Ricky Rudd as the leader of the halfway point and won the Pontiac Grand Prix SE. Now, entries are now being accepted for the next race. You can call 1-900-420-2222, or you can send your name and telephone number to Right Guard Halfway Challenge, Post Office Box 9, Hackensack, New Jersey, the zip code 07602. Congratulations to Kelly Claiborne.
Darrell Walter did get around Ernie Irvin there.
There we see Ernie Irvin has drifted back. Dale Jarrett now has him. Look here, 3 abreast. Three. This is not going to work.
And Walter might take the lead here, or take over second. I should say. Davey Allison is pulled on out in the lead.
That's Jimmy Spencer in number 98 running ahead of Rudd, but now Walter falls back in line, but he was in a position there to take over second.
Yes, he was. His car is working well. He has been patient here today. He knows what it takes to win on this racetrack. Darrell Walter does. He wouldn't be the biggest winner here if he didn't. And he has driven a great calculated race here today. Beginning to flex his muscles. He only needs one more pit stop now.
If you heard Speedweek last night, you heard Darrell Waltrip be somewhat critical of the new pit procedures that are in place here today, saying that a better way to do it would be to freeze the field and let everybody come in and make pit stops and then come back in the same order. But I have a feeling if he wins this race today, he won't have a whole lot of objection to those pit rules.
The lady we saw just a moment ago was Stevie, his wife, and scorekeeper.
It's been 31 races since Darrell Waltrip won a Winston Cup event. That was at Martinsville in September of 1989.
Chad Little, who ran so strong earlier in the race, after some damage, now slow on the inside along with several other cars, like Bill Elliott, the 9 car.
Well, Jimmy Spencer just put the bumper to the leader. He backed off.
Here's a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval comparing the laps of Davey Allison, the leader, and Darrell Waltrip. See, the interval has been up and down. It was 1.6 on lap 351. It came all the way down to 1.1 second, and then now at lap 355 went up to 1.4 again. You can see they're very consistent, although Darrell has had overall the better lap times during those 5 laps of 351 through 355.
Here's the change for the lead. Ricky Rudd down on the inside of Davey Allison, and Darrell Waltrip trying to root his way under Davey Allison, and he does it.
So Ricky Rudd now is in the lead. Waltrip had second there for a moment, but slipped coming off the second corner. Now he gets it again, and Davey Allison is back to third.
He and Davey Mason.
Oh!
And Waltrip goes around.
Nice save. Didn't hit anything.
Whew. Well, this is the break they need for their last caution flag, for their last pit stop. And if Darrell can get her turned around, which it looks like he will, and stay in the lead lap, he still will be okay.
Yeah, he really isn't going to lose a whole lot unless that bump damaged the car in some way.
Yeah, that's pretty level ground down there. He went over some gravel and everything. I doubt it affected it that much.
Meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer in that Food City Chevrolet did get a lap back on that. He had passed the leaders.
This is the 14th or 15th caution of the day. 15 caution periods. We're 5 away from the all-time record.
And here comes the pit stops. Davey Allison coming down first. Of course, is in the odd position, and Jerry Punch is there.
Well, it should be the final scheduled stop under the caution flag for Davey Allison's Avalon Ford. The crew will change all 4 tires as expected. Right side tires already on the car. They dash around to the left side. Got to make sure they get it plenty full of fuel. They will make a chassis adjustment on the left side. Larry McReynolds and the rest of the Haviland crew, the Robert Yates Racing Team, now put all the lug nuts on. And Davey's car down the way. You hear him peeling off pit road. Now, he was among the leaders in the odd cars to pit first. And they're waiting here in the Ricky Rudd pit for the even cars to come down pit road as the field getting ready to come down toward turn 3.
Several still sitting on pit road. Here comes Sterling Marlin. Mickey Gibbs out. So is Hut Strickland. And now here come the even cars in. Ricky Rudd slides into position. There's Jerry.
Ricky Rudd's Tide Chevrolet getting what, as we said, would be the final pit stop scheduled anyway under the caution flag today. Ernie Irvin is also in further up pit road, and they will change right side tires of Irvin's car fuel it. Now Ricky Rudd's Tide team going to the left side of their car, pulling left front and the left rear tire off. Now left side of the Kodak and Chevrolet. It's a race to the pits. Back in the 5 pits now. The Tide crew finishing. Ricky Rudd's car on the jack moving down pit road, and Ernie Irvin's car begins to move, so they will dash in turn 1.
And Darrell Waltrip pits on the backstretch. Here's John Kernan.
Darrell Waltrip is in for a 4-tire change. Right sides are already on. Darrell has requested a cold towel. He says he's burning up in the car. They have surveyed the car. It doesn't look like much damage other than a little bump in the rear end. They did put 1 round of wedge in the right rear. He is full, and Darrell is down the way, headed back out to the racetrack. But Dale Jarrett beat him out of the pits.
Now let's take a look at the replay and show you how Darrell spun coming off corner 4.
Comes off turn 4, and Davey Allison runs up, bumps him in the back, and sends Darrell into the spin.
And he just barely missed hitting the end of pit road there, but didn't hit anything as the car slid down to the bottom of turn number 1. Here it is again.
Well, Darrell gets traction coming off the turn, slips up in front of Davey, and Davey was coming on strong out there and just hit him enough to spin him around.
And Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett go through the smoke, obstructing their view, but everybody else got through okay. And Jeff Hammond, after seeing that, here's how he reacted. Now, after taking a look at a replay of the incident, NASCAR has apparently decided that the number 28 car of Davey Allison will go to the end of his respected row for the restart. All kinds of things happening here at Bristol International Raceway.
Hey, Mike, hand me my channel lock pliers.
Tommy, give me that plier over there with the blue handles. What kind of pliers is that? These are channel lock tongue and groove pliers. My dad uses them on his race car, too.
For the tough jobs and the small jobs, reach for Channel Lock, the handiest plier of them all.
Hey, guys, anybody seen the channel lock pliers?
Channel Lock. Be sure you're getting genuine Channel Lock pliers. Look for this trademark.
Ho, here we go! You're dust, baby. Zombie Blitz! How you like me now, baby? Got good life insurance? All 911!
When we set out to engineer the ultimate spark plug, we put in a lot of long hours. We utilized a lot of revolutionary thinking. And all the while, our competition thought we were just shooting for the moon. Unfortunately for them, we shot a bit higher than that. Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
To locate a Bosch retailer or service outlet, call 1-800-882-8101.
Here, Darrell Waltrip is on the inside of Davey Allison. This is coming off turn 2. Darrell loses a little bit of traction. Now they're side by side down the back. Going in turn 3, Davey goes up the hill. I don't know if there was contact there or not. They come off turn 4. Davey runs up and runs in the back of Darrell. And around Waltrip goes. NASCAR has determined that Davey will have to go to the back of, as Bob said, his respective line on this restart.
And the green is coming out. Action resumes on lap 376. The leader of the race is Mark Martin in car number 6. There are 2 cars ahead of him on the racetrack, but both of them are at least 1 lap down. A lot of in turn 4, but everybody survives. There is Mark Martin, and right behind him is Ernie Irvin and Ricky Rudd, 2nd and 3rd.
Harry Gant's a lap down because of an unscheduled pit stop. Trying to stay in front of Mark Martin, but it just doesn't look like he's going to be able to. Here comes Martin on the inside. He and Harry bump coming off turn 2. He takes that spot away from Harry Gant.
So Gant now goes one lap down again.
Mark Martin is the leader of the race.
Now, he's one driver that's able to work down on the inside. That car's getting a bite down there.
I was just going to say, Ned, look how well he went through the bottom. And Harry Gant is off the pace. Once again, looks like he's coming in the pits.
He is indeed dropping onto the apron of the track in turn 4, bringing this Gold Bandit Oldsmobile to his respective pit position. And they will change right side tires on Harry's car. Sterling Marlin.
Let's look at that's Sterling Marlin up there in 4th place now. Look at Mark Martin, how low he's staying there and getting a bite and just running away from those guys back there now. Whether their cars won't stay down there or they haven't paid attention, don't know. But he has found something there that is really working for him at this time.
Mark Martin, you talk about how bad a season he has had so far. Well, it hasn't been all that bad. He has had 2 top 10 finishes, a 6th at Richmond and a 4th last weekend at Darlington, and he finds himself 6th in the Winston Cup points. So to say that Mark Martin has eliminated himself from the possibility of becoming the Winston Cup champion is a little premature. He's only 160 points right now behind the Winston Cup points leader, Ricky Rudd. So Mark Martin from Batesville, Arkansas, the Jack Roush-prepared Folgers Ford has the lead here at Bristol.
Formula One racing, the ultimate in performance. Formula One Premium Auto Wax with the finest German wax outshines and outlasts other waxes. Only Formula One gives your car the ultimate in shine and protection. Formula One.
Ace is like a neighbor who can do everything.
Well, almost everything.
All you gotta do
is ask Ace.
Yeah.
Ames Comfort Plus shovels and bow rakes with padded handles are $7.99 each. 32-ounce Armor All Protectant, just $5.88.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
Right, neighbor.
When trouble with your car has you feeling a little wobbly, hurry into your neighborhood Parts Plus Auto Parts store, because you can count on the pros at Parts Plus for the right parts the first time and the right prizes. During our Repair America sweepstakes, be one of 2 families to win either a 1991 Ford Explorer or Aerostar. Hundreds of other prizes to win, too. Car owners of all ages count on the pros at Parts Plus.
We're America's family of auto parts stores.
After 388 of the 500 laps in the Valleydale Meats 500, here are the top 15. Mark Martin is your leader, followed by Ernie Irvin. Ricky Rudd is 3rd, then Sterling Marlin and Dale Jarrett. Running 6 through 10, Darrell Waldrop, Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte, Davey Allison, and Rusty Wallace. 11 through 15, Chad Little, Bobby Hillen, Morgan Shepherd, Joe Ruttman, and Ted Musgrave. We will be back with more of our coverage as a record crowd watches this Winston Cup race here at Bristol.
If you can't wait, you need the News Weekly of Motoring Auto Week. If you can't wait for driving impressions, get Auto Week. Auto Week drives them all and tells you about them first. If you can't wait for car news, get Auto Week. Auto Week covers it all. The great old cars, the auto shows. Auto Week's columnists are controversial and fast. And if you can't wait for racing news, get the News Weekly of Motoring. Auto Week races to bring you the winningest coverage first. If you can't wait, get Auto Week, the News Weekly of Motoring, now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for a full year. 52 issues at the special TV price of $19.95. Just 38 cents an issue. Save $80 off the cover price. You've thought about it. Stop waiting. Do it now. Call 1-800-828-4100 for the News Weekly of Motoring.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock them off the win system, all right?
Can anything stop the Selden Express? Undefeated Bruce Selden continues his climb up the heavyweight ladder against Oliver McCall. Top-ranked boxing, Thursday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
ESPN Speed World today, Winston Cup racing at Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. It's the Valleydale Meats 500 being led right now by Mark Martin. second position is Ernie Irvin in car number 4. Then back in third is Ricky Rudd. Fourth is Dale Jarrett. And fifth is Sterling Marlin. There's the third place car of Rudd. And right behind is Dale Jarrett, not too far behind Rudd.
Dale Jarrett is gaining on Ricky Rudd. Looks to me like, Ned, he passed the 22 car, Sterling Marlin, a few laps ago. Looks like he's gaining on Rudd.
Yeah, he definitely is picking up on him. Looks like the Sitco Ford working good.
There's the number 66 car of Lake Speed. Now, of course, this is the second drive in this car by Lake Speed, and you're watching his movement from the Phillips 66 in-car camera. Lake Speed currently being shown in 23rd position, 8 laps down. We got a foot cam. You can see him on and off the accelerator, on and off the brake as he goes around this .533-mile high bank oval.
You can see that he very seldom gets the accelerator to the floor. Watch him as he comes off the corner, playing with the throttle. Now all the way down to the... Oh, back off again. Good stuff. That left foot laying up there poised, ready to hit the brakes at all times.
Braking going into 1. Now watch him feather the throttle in the corner. See him on, off. Now he nails it coming off the corner and keeps it there until he brakes for 3.
And that's all by feel. There's no points or anything he goes by. He just plays with the throttle and gives it power as he feels like that he should.
Boy, you wonder how the brakes hold out here, doing that for 500 laps.
Well, here we see him already. He's pumping the brakes a little bit. And here you don't use nearly as much brake as you do in a place like, say, Martinsville.
Where we will be in 2 weeks, by the way. Okay, Dale Jarrett now has really closed in on Ricky Rudd. This is the battle for third position. Boy, Dale is having a fine run in that Sitco Ford, prepared by the Wood brothers.
He had a good run here last year in that car, Bob. This was a year ago today was the first time that he raced for the Wood brothers after Neil Bonney was injured at Darlington, and he took the car to the front, led for a little while. Boy, he's right up on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd now, and he then had a good run here in August. They made a little miscue in the pits and chose to put on right side tires on the last pit stop as opposed to all 4 tires, and it cost him. But
well, that was his best finish here at Bristol last year in the Busch 500, the night race. He finished in 7th.
Look at this. Ernie Irvin has caught Mark Martin as well.
So we have a battle for the lead shaping up as Ernie Irvin is right
Caution
on
is
the...
out.
Debris on the racetrack. Now number 66.
Dick Lake Speed blew an engine. I started to say a lap or so ago. Just after we got through looking at the in-car camera stuff from his car, he blew an engine. I saw the car go down the front straightaway, putting down some oil. So I guess they're going to put oil dry down and dry it up.
Almost said Dick Trickle, didn't you?
I almost did.
We'll be back in just a moment with a caution out for the 16th time here at Bristol.
Ace is like a neighbor who can do everything.
Well, almost everything.
All you gotta do
is ask Ace.
Yeah.
Ames Comfort Plus shovels and bow rakes with padded handles are $7.99 each. 32-ounce Armor All Protectant, just $5.88.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
Right, neighbor.
Common misconceptions about the mountain man. 3, that a mountain man's best friend is his horse. 2, that a mountain man only packs a 6 gun. And 1, that a mountain man only has one favorite, beer. Actually, mountain men are known to favor both smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find out how a real mountain man preserves wildlife.
Top of the line parts, expert advice. That's your Big A Auto Parts store.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Ricky Rudd comes in for a pit stop, giving up his third position. Here's Jerry Punch.
A lot of concern that Ricky Rudd would have some fresh rubber for this run to the finish. A little less than 100 laps. In fact, 93 laps to go here in the Valleydale 500. Right side tires and left side tires. Walter Smith running around with the jack now. They come around to the left side of the car, and they will roll left side tires on, clean the windshield. This odd and even restart has certainly played into the strategy here today of a lot of people coming down pit road and getting fresh tires. Caution flag. Caution flag still out here for oil on the racetrack. 407 laps complete. This 93 to go. We'll see if who can hold on and win it here when we come back after this.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
There are things in this life we can all count on. Qualities that we have come to know and trust. Pride, good friends, and simple, honest values. These are the things we know we can depend on. Chevrolet. The cars more Americans depend on.
The heartbeat of America.
Show some manners. Don't you understand? Don't you have table manners, huh? You got to have table manners. Now, didn't I raise you to be a better cow than that, huh? Huh?
Still under caution, and this most recent caution period helped a lot of people, but it didn't necessarily help Dale Jarrett. For one thing, he was on a run. Take a look at our Big A Auto Parts on-track interval report. Compare the times turned in by Mark Martin, the leader, and Dale Jarrett on laps 396 through 400. And as you can see on the far right column, the interval shrunk from 2.2 seconds on lap 396 to 1.7 on lap number 400. And by comparing the two columns, you can see that Jarrett really had the faster laps a couple of times.
Well, I think that Mark Martin, there's a combination of things. I think that Jarrett's car was running very well, and Mark Martin was slowing down because Ernie Irvin had caught Mark Martin and was trying to get by him. So obviously Mark's car had lost a little bit of his early speed.
There's a lot of things that on-track interval doesn't show you. For instance, if a guy was running in traffic and exactly what was going on the racetrack. But nevertheless, we think it's important for you to see whether or not one car was gaining an advantage over the other by whether one was slowing down drastically or one was speeding up. So the caution remains out. We are 4 caution periods away from a record. We have broken a record here this afternoon at Bristol for the number of lead changes. The old record was 34 among 16 drivers set in April of 1989. So far, there have been 36 lead changes, and we still have about 89 laps to go.
Okay, they're being given the signal. 2 laps to go.
See those clouds back there, fellas?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They announced in the drivers' meeting that according to the NASCAR radar and their calculations, it might rain between 4 and 4:15. Well, it's 4 o'clock here.
That's pretty close. Now, is Rusty Wallace back on the lead lap? That is a question, and according to our scoring statistics, Rusty Wallace is back on the lead lap. So perhaps my statement quite some time ago about him being out of the possibility of winning the Unocal bonus money is false.
Well,
could very well be.
We missed catching him get back on the lead lap. Don't quite know how he did it, but
but that's what the scoring monitor says.
He just passed that 20 car down and
shown in 10th position. There are 10 cars on the lead lap, so Rusty is the last car on the lead lap, and he's trying to move himself up into his respective line.
Well, the fate of the new rules is now that the 3 front cars are all even cars, so they'll start on the outside. Sterling Marlin was running in the 5th position. He'll get to start down on the inside, so it could be somewhat of an advantage for him.
Okay, a recheck of the scoring. Rusty Wallace is 1 lap down. Thank you.
Good. I thought that. I couldn't see how in the world. I mean, it's not good that he's a lap down, but I couldn't see that my calculations were that far off.
Yeah, we all wondered about that, but the recheck does have Rusty 1 lap down. Okay, getting ready for the restart again on lap 413. It's Mark Martin on the high side and Sterling Marlin on the inside.
But Davey Allison has those new tires. So let's see what happens.
He gave Sterling Marlin a little bump there in the back end of the car. So now Mark Martin has raced off into the lead. Oh, look at Sterling Marlin get way high on the racetrack, and others, including Ernie Irvin and Dale Jarrett able to drive behind him. Here's Ernie Irvin making a bid for the lead on Mark Martin, and Ernie's got it.
Take that position away with no problem. Here comes Davey trying to get on the inside.
Remember, Davey, those new tires could definitely help him right now. Although Ernie Irvin, Mark Martin, and Dale Jarrett do not have new tires, they seem to be hanging in there pretty good. Maybe the tires aren't falling off that much today.
Let's get a report on that from John Kernan.
Bob, Mark Martin has radioed in and talked to the guys and said he's been running as fast as he could, but before this last caution come out, he did not think that he could hold off Ernie Irvin. Well, they told Mark that if you can hold him off, do so, but if you can't, don't worry about it. They're looking for a good finish. They need another good finish this week.
Well, he could not hold off Ernie Irvin, but Mark is staying in second position.
Rusty Wallace went around Dale Jarrett. Rusty has some new tires as well, so apparently they are helping a little bit.
And again, Rusty is one lap down, but Dale Jarrett in car number 21 is on the lead lap. He's fourth.
Then I'm like you. I'm surprised that Davey Allison hasn't shown more strength with the 4 new tires that he has on.
They haven't been able to do anything with Mark Martin once they got up there and got close to him. Apparently those tires are just not falling off that much. The new tires don't help as much as maybe they have at some other racetracks.
There, that black and white and gold number 2, Rusty Wallace. He's their pole sitter this afternoon. And as Bob just mentioned, is now determined he is a lap down to these cars. He wants desperately to get back in front of them. And then if a caution flag should come out.
He's got 3 tough customers there now that move around.
9 cars on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap now is Sterling Marlin, who had a bad fire. Sterling Marlin involved in a very hard crash up in turn number 1. The car becomes engulfed in flame. He apparently backed into the wall, and maybe the fuel cell.
He's getting out of there. Out of boy, Sterling. Come on, babe. Get out of that thing. There you go.
He is out, falling to the pavement. He's trying to crawl away from the race car.
At least he's out. Thank God for fuel, for rubber gas tanks and the foam that's inside them that doesn't allow all that fuel to come out, because that could have been a major, major deal.
So you can see some of the Dale Earnhardt crew guys running out to assist Sterling Marlin as he walks away from the crash.
We have a report that he blew a left rear tire as he went into that turn.
We were just saying that he was the last car on the lead lap. He was right up there in front on the inside when the green came out and had been dropping back quickly. And now the car goes hard in the first turn wall. But as you can see, he is sitting up and the safety workers are removing his helmet. Sterling appears to be okay. We'll be right back.
Warning. Cold starts can be tough on your car's engine because your motor oil might not reach some of its parts for a full minute. Fact. Independent lab tests confirm whether it's 35 below zero or 50 above. Quaker State 10W30 gets to all your engine parts faster than other leading 10W30s. At 40 degrees, it's 3 times faster. So don't let cold starts make it tough on your engine. Get Quaker State. It's one tough motor oil.
Pronto Auto Parts. From coast to coast, your local Pronto Auto Parts store features friendly service and quality auto parts at lower prices. Federal Mogul, a recognized leader in automotive technology, manufactures a wide range of auto parts for virtually every vehicle on the road, foreign and domestic. Your car depends on Federal Mogul quality. Don't be fooled by anything less.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pro at Pronto.
There is what's left of the Maxwell House 4, driven by Sterling Marlin. The car made contact with the wall in turn 1 and then erupted in a huge ball of flame. Here it is.
We see him backing in the wall with a left front, and the thing, as you said, just erupts in a huge ball of flame. And that's not too much of a problem until the car starts drifting down and all the flames go back through the cockpit of the car.
Yeah, it had to get hot in there for him, but thank God Sterling got out of the car and is now being taken to the infield care center.
Here it is from another angle. You can see how much flame there was as the car slid down the banking. Let's go now to John Kernan, who's with Mike Beam.
Mike, a very scary moment, but Sterling looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he said it's going to be okay. It burned his face a little bit, you know, but he'll be okay. You know, the guy's done a good job today, you know, got in that wreck early. And the car was off. He bent the house a little bit, trying hard, but, you know, he done a hell of a job. And, you know, it's just a shame because, you know, we thought we had flat, but he ran over something going in one. He just turned around on him, you know. So it just wasn't nothing we could do.
Well, thankfully, it looks like that he is okay. His face was just a little bit red, I saw, when he walked away to the ambulance. But I think that's a tribute to the safety factors that go into these cars, gentlemen, what with the fire suits and everything like that.
All right. Indeed, there isn't much left of the car, but nobody really cares about the condition of the car. Our concern is the condition of Sterling Marlin, and he appears to be not seriously injured. Back in a moment.
You're pushing 2 tons of steel at 200 plus with just a coat of paint between you and the leader. What's going through your mind?
Stock car fans can now go inside the sport like never before with NASCAR Video Magazine from Time Life Video. Each video helps you gain greater insight into everything from racing strategies to the latest hardware.
Starting with the Daytona experience, yours for just $9.99. It's a behind-the-scenes look at the Super Bowl of racing with Darrell Waltrip, Richard Petty, and Jeff Bodine. Plus how dyno technology is pushing engine performance and a lot more.
Here's how to get started.
Call to get the Daytona experience for $9.99 plus shipping and handling. Use your credit card and we'll send you a free gift. This NASCAR Daytona 500 board game. Other videos like Top 10 Drivers, Fathers, Sons, and Brothers, and Evolution of the Race Car will arrive about every other month at $16.99. There's no commitment. Cancel at any time. The NASCAR Video Magazine from Time Life Video.
Still under caution here at Bristol as the cleanup continues over in turn number 2 because of the accident involving Sterling Marlin, who is out of the car being checked at the infield care center and appears to be in good shape. Now, we have had a report of a little bit of rain falling over in turn number 3 and a few sprinkles here on the main stretch.
Hard to believe that NASCAR predicted this morning that it would rain between 4 and 4:15. My watch says it's about 8 minutes after 4.
Yeah, they were pretty close.
Sure were. Let's hope we don't get a lot of rain so it'll not stop this race.
Ernie Irvin and probably Mark Martin are hoping it rains.
Yeah.
All the rest of them hoping it doesn't rain.
Yep.
No, I take that back. About half the field back is hoping it rains.
You know, Bristol International Raceway has come such a long way in 10 or 12 years. They have built some huge grandstands here on the front stretch and the back stretch. And as Ned mentioned earlier, they are going to build more seating. And the crowds that come out here to this race are just unbelievable. You can see them sitting on the hill there on the right side of your screen. And they draw even a larger crowd for the night race here late in the summer.
Wait a minute, Bob. They do not draw a larger crowd. They can't put any more people in here.
Oh, yeah, they can. That hill is a lot more populated than it is today.
They don't sell any more seats.
Yeah, that's right.
Than they do for today, because I think they must have been all sold today.
Those 4,000 seats that they're going to build on turn 4 will be high-rise seats. Now, they have a new scoreboard on the infield, and we were wondering yesterday, now that thing, you know, from where we are and all the people on the front straightaway and the back straightaway, they can't see that scoreboard. That was put up there. You see it. Now, this is what we're seeing, and most of the people in the stands on both sides. Well, they put it there for that new grandstand. Those people up in turn 4 will be able to see it because they can't see the scoreboard. They'll be right beside the scoreboard in turns 3 and 4.
Okay, that is where the grandstand will go. I was thinking maybe, yeah, there you go. And you're right. They wouldn't be able to see the scoreboard there in the 4th turn. I was thinking that they perhaps build it for somebody down in the 2nd turn, but I'm thinking, well, you can just look right over that one at the big one there in the 3rd and 4th turn and get the same information. But that
we see Mark Martin coming down pit road. Also the 42 car of Kyle Petty, but Mark Martin, the fellow who was running second, comes in the pits.
Of course, one thing this new pit rule did this weekend is necessitate more tires because, you know, in the previous races this year with very limited tire changes, naturally they don't have to buy very many and don't have to have many available, but it has increased the need for tires. And is this good strategy on Mark Martin's part, getting 4 new tires here?
He was going to get beat by several cars. So, yeah, I think it's the only thing he could possibly do if he's going to have any kind of chance of winning the race.
Gambling that it won't rain.
Yeah. So it is 70 laps from the end of this race. 430 have been completed. We'll be back with more of our live coverage after this.
The time has finally come for the cordless power roller from Wagner. Now you control the flow of paint. So the Wagner Power Roller can cut jobs in half. Smoothly and evenly, it can cover areas twice as fast. And cleanup is a snap. So you can finish one job and do another. Get your hands on a real value, because the value of Wagner keeps on rolling.
Subway's Cold Cut Combo. It starts with a foundation of the freshest bread anywhere. Baked every 4 hours in every Subway store. Then cheese, 3 kinds of meat, and whichever of our 9 tasty fixins you choose. Total construction cost, $1.69. It's time to eat. Subway 6-inch cold cut combo. For $1.69, we can build one for you.
The NFL Draft.
Draft day. Ha! Longest day of my life. It isn't official yet, but I think we're going to take you next. And I'm just sitting on the phone like...
Find out who gets the call and which picks will fall. The controversy.
It's obvious to me right now that the Jets just don't understand what the draft's all about.
And the anticipation.
Indianapolis selects
of the NFL Draft. Sunday, April 21st, live on ESPN.
This caution period that we're under here at Bristol allows the fans to go out to their concession stand and get their favorite hot dog or Coke or whatever, and as if he needs another meal, our good friend Benny stuffed himself into his car and drove a few miles down the road from the racetrack on Friday, where he once again managed to justify a big feed by passing it off as a necessary part of our telecast.
When I come to Bristol, not only am I looking forward to 2 great races on Saturday and Sunday, but I can't wait for Friday at lunch at the Ridgewood Restaurant. Great barbecue. Now, everyone all over the world says they've got the best barbecue. How do you tell? I don't know, except look for the cooker beside the restaurant. That means they do their own thing, and they got their own recipe, and most of it is pretty doggone good. Well, Grace Prophet has been cooking barbecue here for 43 years. Thank you very much, Grace. Look at this. Barbecue pork, barbecue beef. The French fries are homemade, great homemade coleslaw, homemade beans. But I'm a little bit concerned. The guys at the racetrack are concerned through the reputation I'm giving the place. When we come back in August, maybe we won't be able to get inside. Tell you what, if you folks are here on Friday before the August race and the place is full and I come in, you better get up and let me sit down. I told you about it, remember? Okay, enough of that. Let's see some barbecue. I'm about to starve.
All right,
well, Benny,
good.
how was it?
Hey,
there's some guys that have visited there, I'm sure.
They've been over to the Ridgewood. It was very, very good. I mean, 43 years she's been there, so obviously.
Even members of our crew are taking a break before the end of the race, chowing down.
All the NASCAR people next door is ragging me. They're watching it on the monitor.
We still have not been given the signal for 2 more laps to go, so the cars have not yet moved into their realignment. How's this going to go here?
Well, one reason I think that we're delaying the restart of the race is that if Sterling Marlin should need to go to the hospital for observation or what have you, there is no tunnel here. They'll have to open that gate. You remember the one that Michael Waltrip hit last year? They'll have to open that gate to let the ambulance out. Well, I guess they do have a helicopter. We see it warming up down on the right there in the middle of the screen. We see the helicopter warming up, so I guess they could take him out that way. But how are they going to line up? Ned, you got any idea?
Well, they'll go 2 abreast like they've been doing here all day. Davey Allison will be down on the inside, and Ernie Irvin, as a result of being in the even situation, will go up on the outside. And so will Dale Jarrett right behind him.
All right, let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Tony Glover.
Gentlemen, at tough racetracks like Bristol, normally you spend a couple of days getting the car dialed in, Tony, and then you don't change much on race morning, but that's not the case for you guys. What all did you change this morning?
Well, we changed about 3 springs and moved the rear track bar and moved some weight around in the car. Yesterday afternoon, he wasn't quite happy with it, and we went back to our setup we had last year, and it seems to be working okay for the Kodak Chevrolet.
He said you did not bring the car you won with last August. It's a different race car.
Yeah, this is a brand new car. This is the first time we've ever run it. It's a new Mike Laughlin car, and it's doing a real good job for us.
Well, they're getting ready to go green. He wants to talk to his driver for a moment, but they rolled the dice. They brought a brand new race car, and they made a lot of adjustments this morning, and apparently it's going to pay off for them.
All right, 2-lap signal is being given, so they'll go around one more time after this next time, and then we'll restart the race. Congratulations to our chief spotter, Kevin and Carolyn. They're Clark. They're celebrating their anniversary today, and Kevin reports from high above our broadcast booth here on the main straightaway that raindrops are being felt.
Okay, on the outside row, we see Ernie Irvin, Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte, and Ricky Rudd. Those are the even rows. On the inside, Davey Allison. Then a lap down is Rusty Wallace. There's a 2, and there's a 20 car of Bobby Hillen. There's Mark Martin. He's back in behind the 98 car, and the 98 car again is in the lead lap, and the 6 car. So it looks like all the cars in the lead lap are on the even or outside row, Ned.
Yeah, that's true, excepting Davey Allison, who's down the inside. Now, Darrell Walton also made a pit stop during this caution, so he is back there a little farther than he had been, but he has 4 fresh tires on.
The light on top of the pace car is out. We're coming back, by the way, after the crash down in turn number 1 involving Sterling Marlin. And he has been checked out. Apparently is in pretty good shape after a very, very bad crash in which there was also quite a bit of fire involved, but Sterling is not seriously injured. All right, here we go. Pace car is off the racetrack. Ernie Irvin and Davey Allison lead him down, and there's the green flag on lap 4:39.
Ernie got off to a little bit of a slow start. Davey jumped out in front.
And Rusty Wallace still trying to get that lap back.
And Ernie goes high.
You know, Ned, it looked to me like Ernie missed a gear just a little bit.
Yeah, it's just enough to slow it down going into the turn.
Running in 3rd position is Dale Jarrett.
Dale's car seems to be pushing a little bit on the restarts. Here's our Rusty Wallace trying to get back in the lead lap, and he's going to do it.
Yes, he does. Rusty Wallace is back in the lead lap.
A lot of cars shuffling around. You can see they're running side by side. There's Darrell down on the inside as Mark Martin comes off of that corner, and Darrell goes by the car number 20 of Bobby Hillen.
They were 3 abreast coming off the 2nd corner. Mark Martin, Darrell Waltrip, and Bobby Hillen. Mark Martin is in 5th, and Darrell Waltrip is 6th.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett's car is definitely not up to par right now from the way he was running. Of course, he did not make a pit stop. Many of those other cars did, and that seems to be paying off.
Yeah, he's lost 2 positions here in the last couple of laps.
Actually, has lost 3. Rudd went around, and here goes Darrell Waltrip around. So that definitely is hurting.
He's saying now, Ned, if it only had rained.
Yeah, only it rained. I was up there in 3rd place.
Ernie Irvin closing in on Davey Allison once again. These 2 have been the dominant cars so far today. Look at Jimmy Spencer making a good run here with Ricky Rudd. And there's Mark Martin. And we now begin to see raindrops.
Oh, it's coming down, yeah.
Here on our broadcast booth. Let's see if Irvin tries to make a move.
Let's see if we can see any rain on his windshield. I don't see any yet.
Look at him push Davey. You can see the rain on the windshield now.
So Davey, he's also seeing that rain. He realizes all he's got to do is stay in front for just a couple more laps.
Protect that position.
Ernie's trying to get by on the inside. He may have him.
Oh, no, he couldn't do it then.
Jimmy Spencer almost lost it coming off of turn 4. Evidently the track is getting a little slick. As Ricky Rudd moves on the inside of Spencer. Takes the position away. Mark Martin gets by as well.
The yellow flag is out. The yellow flag is out.
So they're racing back to the line.
Here they come. Off the corner, Davey got really loose, but he held on to the lead.
Wow. And that's the signal when Doyle Ford is pointing to the sky. That's what the caution flag is for, rain.
Now, they told us, or at least I heard, Ned, that when they said it was going to rain between 4 and 4:15, and they missed it by less than 5 minutes, that it probably would set into rain and rain for a while.
Yeah, they did say that there was a lot of heavy stuff back behind the front that's moving in here.
But for right now, just a caution flag.
I wonder if they're congratulating each other or got other words to say. I think they're probably congratulating each other because it's pretty clean racing there those last few laps.
51 laps to go. Davey Allison won the race to the caution flag. He's the leader. Ernie Irvin second, Ricky Rudd third, then Mark Martin and Darrell Waltrip.
Brett Bodine, one tough driver, talks about Quaker State, one tough motor oil.
At North Wilkesboro, that Carolina asphalt was hot enough to fry our King Racing Buick. Our engine was running hot, 240 degrees, and I had to keep pushing it over 8,000 RPM. Now that's when you start worrying about your oil's viscosity breaking down. But when the going got tough, the same Quaker State you can buy right off the shelf was tough enough to get me to the finish line first.
Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
Nothing beats the sound of cheers. Nothing beats clean, crisp, and cold. Nothing beats the king of beers. Yeah, nothing. Nothing beats a bud. Yeah, nothing. Nothing beats a bud. Nothing. Nothing beats a Budweiser. Ice cold Budweiser. Nothing beats a bud.
After 450 of 500 laps, the top five: Ernie Irvin, Davey Allison, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip, and we are getting set to go back to green flag racing. Our Speed World coverage of the Valleydale Meats 500 being brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Pronto, featuring quality auto parts at lower prices. And by Wagner, manufacturer of the cordless power roller. So, although we do see some raindrops, and as a matter of fact,
look on the windshield of Ernie Irvin's car.
People are beginning to put on their rain gear, up the umbrellas, and in fact, some are walking.
They're not going to throw the flag because
the
light is still on the pace car. They're not going to throw the flag.
It's raining harder right now than it has the last few minutes. Well, tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, here on ESPN, join us for Sunday Night Baseball, as tonight we feature the American League battle between the Seattle Mariners and the Oakland A's. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, live tonight. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN.
You know, this rain is bad news for a lot of the drivers, and also for me. You know why, Bob?
Why is that, Benny?
I lost my umbrella yesterday.
Was that yours that fell onto the racetrack earlier today? And don't forget, following our race here this afternoon, the finals of the Bosch & Loam Women's Tennis Tournament from Amelia Island in Florida. That's right after our Winston Cup race here today. It appears to be raining quite hard. As I said, a lot of people are heading for the exits. Sterling Marlin, by the way, is being loaded into the helicopter. Now, this isn't as bad as it may appear right here. We saw him walk away from the crash, and we don't believe is seriously injured, but he will be airlifted to a local hospital to make sure that everything is okay for Sterling Marlin, who was involved in a very bad crash down in turn number 1, in which the car erupted in flames.
You know, I did that about in 1987 in this very race. I blew a left rear tire going in the same corner down and backed in the wall, and I guess I was lucky.
Yep.
I thought I broke my neck, but other than that, sure can hit hard, because you're running, as we said earlier, 130 miles an hour, and that car swaps ends and backs in the fence. It hasn't slowed down that much. You're still probably running over 100 miles an hour when you just clobber the wall. And believe me when I tell you, folks, that wall does not move.
Not an inch. And now you can see that the rain is obscuring the vision of Lake Speed in our Phillips 66 in-car camera.
I thought he blew up. I saw there was a bunch of oil. There was a caution flag for what I thought was a blown engine, but he's back on the track.
Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Larry McReynolds.
Larry McReynolds is only his second race as the crew chief for Davey Allison. Looks like you're in a pretty good position right now. If this rain continues to fall, they may have to end this race.
Well, I mean, I hate to win a race like this, but due to all the circumstances, getting black flagged early in the day, seconds straight up.
You know, Davey had wanted to pit it at one point, but you wouldn't let him come in that one time, just a little while ago.
You know, with the second race out, you know, it'd be awfully good for this whole race team to win a race for the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. Do a lot for me, do a lot for Davey Allison, Robert Yates. All the guys have worked so hard and accepted me since I got over there a month ago. And I'd like to win it with 500 on the board, but like I say, due to the circumstances, we'll take it like it is.
At one point, just a little while ago, Davey was wanting to come in, and you wouldn't let him come in. Was it because of the weather coming in? You knew it was coming?
Well, that was the biggest reason. NASCAR's created these two races within a race, odd cars and even cars. Fortunately, we're in the odd race, and there's only two of us on the lead lap in the odd race. But Rusty is the other one, and he seems to be one of the quickest cars on the racetrack.
Well, they are right now leading this with 45 laps to go from the board. And gentlemen, as I look down now and also look up, the rain is coming down harder and the pavement is getting wet back here in the pits.
And there goes Sterling Marlin in the helicopter being transported to a local hospital. Track becoming increasingly wet because of the rain that is falling. Well, if they do pull off a victory here this afternoon, it will be a pretty good record for Larry McReynolds as crew chief on that car, because last week they finished in the runner-up position at Darlington, and they stand a chance of winning this race here this afternoon.
The 1983 Busch 500 was called at 419 laps for rain, and that's the only rain-shortened event here at Bristol, so that's pretty good note that Mr. Martin has handed me. Two Valleydale 500s in a row, and that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is.
Not at all.
Because this is a very, very, hey, I don't have to tell these folks that. They've witnessed today there's been 17 caution flags. They know how tough it's been.
And to still have, well, there are 9 cars in the lead lap after all that we've seen here today is really a tribute to the teams, the drivers, and the competition that there is in NASCAR Cup racing.
Davey Allison, this is only his 8th start here at Bristol. Now let's go to Jerry with an update on the condition of Sterling Marlin.
I was just talking to the doctors and nurses here. And by the way, they have an excellent staff here from Bristol Regional Medical Center, and that's where Sterling Marlin is being transported right now. An update on Sterling's condition. Basically, you saw the horrible fire there, and it could have been a lot worse. Sterling was wearing goggles, which protected his eyes, certainly a vital organ. Now, he has some second-degree burns around the area, the maxilla, the cheek area, around the bottom part of the goggle, also involving some of the face, the shoulder area, where the belts weren't covering them, on both shoulders, also on the top of the thighs. That second-degree burn area. The lungs were clear. There was no concern about smoke inhalation, possibly a thermal burn, but that was checked out by this crack crew here, and he said that was fine. They gave him some medication for pain because burns are extremely painful. Anyone's ever having a burn from even a sunburn or possibly burn a finger on the stove, you realize how that throbs and is very painful. They gave him medication. He has IV fluids. We would expect, now this is speculation here from here on out, that was fact I gave you a minute ago. We would expect possibly he would be admitted overnight for observation. The concern with the burn is to control the pain, to control possibility of infection, but otherwise he is very, very lucky that it was not worse than what I just described. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Jerry, very much. And as you can see, the red flag has been displayed here at Bristol. The cars have been brought onto pit road. Now they are being moved down in between turns 1 and 2, where they will stay while this rain period is being waited out. Now, of course, this race could be halted at any moment. We are only 42 laps away from the end of this race, but if NASCAR determines that they think the rain is going to stay around for a while, they could stop the race right at this point.
One reason to take these cars down in the corner is the crews cannot work on the car during red flag conditions. When I say no work, I'm talking about zero. They can't even touch the cars.
Now let's go back and take a look at the crash that Jerry was talking about, the one that has put Sterling Marlin in a helicopter on the way to the hospital.
There we see the Maxwell House Ford back in the turn 1 wall, and when he backs in the fence, he ruptures the gas tank and it just erupts in a ball of flame. Well, the gas tank is rubber and there's a foam inside that will not let the gasoline just flow out, and that's one reason that it doesn't continue to burn like we saw that first initial ball of flame. Now we can see it's still burning, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Meanwhile, all that smoke in there, we see Sterling coming out of there. And again, it's not easy to get out of these cars. You have the seat that goes around, wraps around both sides. You have to take the steering wheel off, and there's a pin that you have to take off. There we see the wrap around on the right side of his rib cage. Well, there's one on the left side. To take the steering wheel off, we can see the steering shaft coming up right between his knees, and that there is no steering wheel there. Ernie has already taken off the steering wheel. Well, there's a pin that you have to slide out. You know, with gloves on, you have to undo the radio wire that for the helmet. You have to take, he didn't take the helmet off, you have to undo the wire, and then you have to undo the shoulder harness and make sure that all that stuff is not caught in the radio wire and something else before you start to get out.
You got to take down the window netting, and then you crawl out that little hole.
That's right. Exactly. I forgot about the window netting. Yep. So it's not just a simple matter of jumping in and out and jumping out like you would a streetcar.
And with flame all around you, you know that you got to get out of there quickly, and Sterling did. Now you can see Darrell Waltrip and Davey Allison having a discussion as they had a meeting of their two cars earlier in the race that sent Darrell sliding through the front stretch. We'll be right back.
Think I'll ever drive a car as fast as you?
Well, maybe, if you don't do drugs or alcohol or drop out of school.
Promise we won't.
Okay, then let's make a deal, a contract.
Get your own contract at any Citgo gasoline retailer. Mail it back and you'll get Dale's official poster. Plus, a chance to meet him at a real NASCAR race.
Be a performer for America.
Without drugs or alcohol.
Get your contract at Citgo today.
Every summer weekend, millions of the smartest guys in America fire up their Murray mowers. What makes them so smart is that Murray's rated one of the best in quality and performance, with a 2-year warranty backed by 10,000 service dealers at a price that's about half of other top quality mowers, which makes Murray mowers tough as they come, any way you cut it.
I've got the car. I've got the team. And I've got the drive. I'm off to a great start.
McDonald's has everything under the sun to get your day off to a great start. Hot, fluffy biscuits, scrumptious Egg McMuffin sandwiches, and griddle fresh hotcakes.
You know, when you get off to a great start, there's just no telling how far you can go.
This is never gonna work. Hey, relax. Anybody can send them roses.
Excuse me, we didn't order these. Ian, what's this?
Hi.
Did they really expect us to call them?
I'm telling you. Hello.
Nothing beats a bud. The rain continues here at Bristol. The race has been halted on lap number 458. And so the cars are down between turns 1 and 2. Some of them have been covered up, protecting them. The leader of the race right now is Davey Allison. Here's Dr. Punch.
Well, indeed, the leader right now, the defending champion of the Valleydale Meats 500. And Davey, that last restart, that could have been what gave you the win. What happened? Do you think Ernie might have missed a shift, or did you just catch him going into one?
No, I was on cooler tires, fresher tires than Ernie was, and I think he spun the wheels a little bit coming off a 4 over there. When it did, it just gave me a jump, you know. We've been racing hard, and the car's driving really good, though. I got to hand it to Larry McReynolds, all the guys on the crew. They've worked really hard all day, making the adjustments that I've asked for, and, you know, we've just been right in the hunt all day long.
It has been a difficult day from the top to the bottom of the field, contact almost every lap.
Well, you know, this restart stuff has been a mess, and, you know, we've got to do something different. We've got to do something different because it's just getting, look at all the torn up race cars around here.
What happened over there? You and Darrell Waltrip, and you were penalized, put in the rear. What actually went on out there?
Well, see, when you're Darrell Waltrip, you can get away with that kind of stuff, and all you got to do is look at the side of my race car right here. That's coming off of turn 2 and going into turn 3 with me on the outside. And we got down there, and I still had momentum up. I raced him. I went ahead and raced him. We come off the corner over there. He jumps up in front of me and backs out of the gas. And there wasn't nothing I could do. When I hit him, you know, then he comes over here mouthing off at me. But when you're Darrell Waltrip, it's okay, but anybody else, you're not.
Davey Allison obviously upset, but if it continues to rain, there's going to be a smile on this young man's face. Let's go over to John Kernan, who's standing by with Darrell Waltrip.
Well, we've heard from Davey now. Let's talk to Darrell, his version of what happened out there that ended up Davey getting penalized.
Well, I'm really happy that he got penalized. He needed to be penalized, and he just spun me out. You know, it's tough out there today, and you have to use all the judgment you got, and you have to be careful, and you don't run into somebody and knock fire out of them on purpose. And he's had a little bit of a problem with me, and I don't know what it is. He gave me a finger last week down at Darlington. When I was laps down, I passed him, had 4 tires, and went on. Today he spun me out. We're going to have a little talk, I guess, father and son type.
Well, aside from that, I heard you telling someone else you got hit 9 times today. It just seemed that everybody was a little bit over anxious out there, a little too impatient.
The pit rules have got everybody so frustrated right now that you just have to do stupid things. You get hung up on the outside. I've got a fast race car. I need to be up front. I'm hung up on the outside every time, and I get booted up in that loose stuff, and you either hit the wall or run over somebody or wreck. And so this is the hardest mentally race I believe I have ever tried to run. I started 22nd. I'm pitting on the back straightaway. That's bad enough, and then the pit rule just makes it worse. So I just pray to God that they'll get this thing straightened out. It is killing a lot of us.
But you were able to come to the front and move into the top 5, right?
Oh, yeah. I'd be able to lap the field if I could get up there where I belong.
Thank you very much, Darrell. Gentlemen?
Yeah, he is shown in 5th position right now on the red flag. Let's go to Jerry, who's with Ernie.
Well, a man who probably doesn't believe it's raining at all right now is Ernie Irvin. And Ernie, that last restart might have cost you.
Yeah, it sure did. I missed a shift on it and got behind him. We were way faster than he was, but, you know, with the new pit rules and the way they line us up on a racetrack, the guy that's running second actually is in the lead as far as I'm concerned, and that just doesn't seem right.
A lot of contact out there. Did you think that possibly there may be just some frustration among the drivers among the first 4 or 5 events of the year and not being able to really push the cars and race?
Well, I think a lot of it is just, you know, these deals where we're lining up side by side, and it's a give and take deal. Well, nobody wants to give. It's hard to do that, you know.
Ernie, your car awfully strong. The tires, if we can get it restarted, do you think you got a shot at it?
Definitely. We got the quickest car on the racetrack, you know, besides maybe Buster.
Ernie Irvin, very confident here. Ernie, let you get out of the rain, and let's go up to John Kernan.
Jerry, I'm standing here with Ricky Rudd. Ricky, it's been a wild afternoon out there today. A lot of guys, a lot of beating and banging, maybe a little bit more than usual here at Bristol.
Well, you know, it's definitely a wild race. It's gone from one extreme to the other, I guess, in just a matter of a week's time. But, you know, it's tied Exxon, EDS, Chevrolet. It's run good for us all day. We won the $20,000 lap. Our car's just a little bit too tight. As the sun started to set a little bit and clouds came in, my car tightened up. If I could free it up again, I think I can get back out front.
So you need to do some work to the car if you do get this race restarted?
Well, we just need to loosen the chassis up, and then that's a big gamble. If we do get restarted, can we come into pits and do our work and get back out with just a few laps remaining? I don't know what's going to be the best way to go. But like I say, earlier in the day, the car worked real good. Now it's just too tight, and you know, as bad as we'd like to win, we'd just soon come out here with a complete race car, which in itself would be an accomplishment, and settle for third and go on and keep the points lead.
Yeah, I was started to say with the points lead right now, first time in your career that you have led it. Right now, you're going to add a little bit to that because of the problems that Earnhardt had today. Say the race ends. Do you have the consistency to go on the rest of the year? I know you do have a lot of experience on that team.
Well, I think we're consistent. You know, Earnhardt is consistently fast everywhere he goes. He doesn't really have too many weak points. We've probably got a few more weaker tracks than he's got, so we can use all the advantage we can get with accidents and so on. We don't want to win it that way, but we're going to run as hard as we can run, and as we go on, as Hendricks Motorsports Chevrolet becomes more competitive every week. We're used to working with Valleydale, and those guys are putting a better car into me each week. So as the season goes on, I'd love to have as many points leads, as many padded points as I can get, but we'll just wait and see. Right now, we're averaging about 4.6. The championship's going to be average. Finish will be about an 8.3, so we hope not, but we're probably due for some bad luck down the road.
Well, you never know how luck falls in this place, gentlemen. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you. Now, the point standings coming into this race showed Ricky Rudd with an 80-point advantage on Dale Earnhardt, with Ernie Irvin in third, and then Ken Schrader and Sterling Marlin. If we do not resume this race, Ricky Rudd will have a 129-point edge on Ernie Irvin, who will move to second in points, and Dale Earnhardt will fall to third. The reason that Dale Earnhardt will fall to third position is because of this crash that he was involved in very early in the going.
There we see Dale going turn one, and just all of a sudden the car gets out from under him. He said there's some oil down in turn one. He got into the car, spun, goes up and backs in the fence. I don't think the car's hurt too bad until Sterling Marlin comes along and finishes the job. He backs in the front of Dale's car, and they worked on the Dale Earnhardt car, but he still is he's now 20th spot. He's 14 laps behind.
And fourth in the points, if we do not resume, Mark Martin. And here's Jerry.
Well, Mark Martin, you may have struggled a little bit early on, but whatever you guys have been working on with the car these last 150 laps or so, you've got it dialed in. The car seems to be running pretty well for you.
Well, the Folgers team has just been awesome in the pits. They were incredible. We passed a lot of cars during our pit stops. The car performed well all day. I couldn't really complain about it. It's a little tight, a little loose, but we got into two different wrecks and had to go to the back. That really cost us, and it took a long time to make that up and still have a race car left at the end. There's so many cars that got tore up and everything. I mean, you had to pick your way through. So overcoming going to the rear twice, I'm pretty proud of the guys, the Folgers guys, and just a little bit of help, and we could have took that thing to victory lane.
Is it biorhythms or what? I mean, it seems like you've turned things totally around since Darlington.
It's real funny because we hadn't done one thing different. Same cars, same springs and shocks and weights and everything. Everything, I don't think we're doing a darn thing different, but, it had to turn around because, that's the way we've been doing it for 3 years, and it's been working. So, now it's working again. I don't know what the difference is.
Well, I think hard work does indeed pay off, and it's showing today for this Folgers team. Let's go to John Kernan.
Standing here with Jimmy Spencer, who has made up, I'm told, 2.5 laps today to get back on the lead lap. And as we pull in here for the red flag, sitting in 6th position, you got to feel pretty good about that effort.
We really do, John. We were running third, and I made a big mistake getting in the corner. It was starting to rain. I figured, boy, I could really hustle the race car and get it up there and win the race. It didn't work out. The Bank of Frozen Foods cars ran good this year, and if we could get out there with a top 10 finish, that's important right now.
A lot of beating and banging out there. Did you get the feeling that a lot of people were a little too impatient today with those double file restarts?
I'm going to tell you what, that pit rule isn't a bad deal, I guess, on a super speedway, things like that. But, NASCAR's trying real hard to get this thing worked out, put the racing back in the pits for the fans. I think they got that. I think they saw a heck of a race today. And that's important, and I know the fans here are yaying and clapping, so that's important. And I credit NASCAR for what they're doing. We'll just have to see what happens next week.
Jimmy Spencer moved up after being 2.5 laps down, is now 6th. Also someone with a good run today, Ted Musgrave, and he is standing around with Jerry Punch.
Well, John, they got to be smiling in Franklin, Wisconsin. That's Ted Musgrave's home. And, of course, they knew he could drive a race car because he was awesome for years on the ARTCO circuit and the ASA circuit. And, Ted, all I can say is congratulations on a tremendous run so far.
Oh, thank you. The U.S. Racing Alka-Seltzer Pontiac's running real good here today. It kind of reminds me of a home track called Slinger. And on the ASA circuit, Winchester, Salem, Mark knew how to get around it, Martin, and he taught me a lot on these high banks. And I'll tell you, the car's really working good today.
Maybe it's an omen. Remember, there was a guy named Irvin, I believe, Ernie Irvin, who ran for DK Ulrich here a couple of years ago and ran pretty well, and it sent his career spiraling upward.
Yeah, actually, Ernie's been a lot of help to me. He's helped me as far as getting around the racetracks, any inside information I need, and I owe a lot to Ernie. He's helped me a lot this year.
Ted Musgrave currently sitting 11th on the field, having a great run here at Bristol. Bob?
All right, thank you. You can see the rain still falling, and in fact, falling pretty hard. Let's take a look at the top 30 as they stand right now under red. It's Allison, Irvin, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waldrop. Running 6th is Jimmy Spencer, followed by Terry Labonte, then Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Morgan Shepherd. The man we just talked with, Ted Musgrave, 2 laps down in the 11th position, then Harry Gant, Joe Ruttman, Chad Little, and Mickey Gibbs. 16 through 20, Bobby Hillen, Bud Strickland, the King Richard Petty, then Rick Mast, and Dale Earnhardt. Kyle Petty is 21st, then Brett Bodine, Sterling Marlin, Michael Waltrip, and Jeff Bodine. And 26 through 30, Lake Speed, Alan Kowicki, Bill Elliott, Dick Trickle, and Ken Schrader were red on lap 458.
Remember me
I'm the kid that had a report due on space. Then I got the new Encyclopedia Britannica.
He had a report due on space, and then he got the new encyclopedia.
I think I made that abundantly clear.
Yes.
Anyhow, here it is. I mean, hey, everybody knows this is the greatest encyclopedia in the world. Help me get a B+.
Why not an A?
Too long. I found so much great information I put it all in. Overkill. The next report I did was for my science class on the human body. Scored an A.
Good.
Look at this. I always wondered where my mandibula was.
For details on how you can own the new Encyclopedia Britannica,
Let's have that 800 number. Excellent.
just call this number and we'll send you this free booklet.
Tell them about the gift.
And just for previewing Britannica in your home, we'll give you this 3-volume desk reference set.
This is like having your own research library at home.
Yes. So if you would be interested in owning the new Encyclopedia Britannica,
Don't press. They see the phone number. If they want to, they'll call.
I guess you're right.
Trust me.
There you can see the field stopped under a red flag condition because of rain. The drivers and the NASCAR officials are huddling down on pit road. They are also huddling up here beside us. That's where the decisions will be made as to whether this race resumes or not. It is raining quite hard. The track is very, very wet. And actually, at this point, the chances of getting this thing restarted don't look good at the moment, but you never know. Davey Allison is the leader of the race at this point. If we do not resume, he will be the last driver to win back-to-back Valleydale 500 since Darrell Waltrip did it back in 1984. Actually, he won 81, 82, 83, and 84. There's the Davey Allison pit crew waiting. Let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's with Chad Little.
Talk about some impressive driving today. This young man here, Chad Little, having the best run of his as yet brief Winston Cup career. Chad Little to Tyson Ford, and Chad smiling still, but running in the top 5 had to feel great.
Yeah, it did. It felt really good. In fact, I was trying not to think about it so I wouldn't get, a little bit intimidated about being up there in front. But the guys were really helpful on the radio, and they'd come over and just tell me to, be calm and stuff. But actually, the car worked great, and I was real happy for that. This is Tyson Ford's first race for us with me and our Ford Thunderbird. It ran really well all day long. We started in the back. We had a problem with the right front tire qualifying, but we knew we were quick, and it was just a matter of getting up there where we could run all day long. And then we got in a short track accident, and that cost us a couple laps right now. But I was real pleased with our first run, the first time I've run consistently up in the front there.
Well, one good run can make a difference for a team. They were all smiles. Cliff Champion and all the Bullseye Tyson team were smiling. It could make a difference when we get to Wilkesboro and possibly Martinsville down the road, gentlemen.
All right, our race next weekend at North Wilkesboro will be tape delayed. However, we'll be live 2 weeks from today at Martinsville, and then live 3 weeks from today at Talladega.
You see Chad Little, I guess a lot of people is rooting for him to make it as a race car driver because that would be one less lawyer in the world.
That's right. He gave up a law career to go racing. Well, Richard Childress is one of the most successful car owners in Winston Cup history. He has 5 wins here at this facility as a car owner. But of course, he began his racing career as a race driver. Here's a closer look at Richard Childress, driver and owner.
He was a winner. He was a winner before he ever won the first race.
To me, he just seems like another guy on the team.
It's a strange relationship that we have here. He's a boss, but he's probably closer in the friend category than he would be a boss.
Richard's instilled in us, I think, a lot of qualities that he has is that he doesn't quit.
Every man working here is a winner, and they like to be surrounded with winners. I've done every job in this shop, from driving the truck to sweeping the floors to driving the race car. And when these guys have a problem or things don't go right, or if you have any kind of failures, I've did the same job and I've had failures, and I can understand.
The 1980s have seen Richard Childress become one of the most successful car owners in Winston Cup racing history. What most people do not know is that his dream almost came to an end even before it got started.
We went to Daytona to do some testing in 1980, and he had run around there, and his last lap, he did real well with the car, and I'd been driving it some, and Darrell had drove it some, all of us had driven it that day, and he made his last run, and he lost the car coming off of turn 4 and flipped it down through there and got it up on top of the wall, and just one of the scariest wrecks you'd ever see. And it just about busted me.
After that nightmare, Childress made a decision that would change the course of his career and life. And with advice from his mentor, he hired the driver that would become the nucleus of his success.
They had talked to me about running Dale we were at Talladega in 1981, and I'd ran 20 races, and when they had talked to me about it, Junior was the first person I went to talk to get his advice what I should do. And I made him over to the motel room that evening, and we talked on it, and he told me then, he said, there's a more need for good car owners right now than there were for race drivers. And he said, you've got an opportunity now. He said, you just need to take it and make it work.
With championship seasons, a profitable business, and a loving family, life has smiled on Richard Childress, but he still has a few regrets.
I've always said if there was 2 things in my life that I would change, one of them would be that when my daughter was coming up, I would have spent more time at home with her, or spent more time with her. You know, we're real close now, and we always have been, but I just didn't have the time to spend with her then. And the other I would serve my country for 4 years. Never really felt at any point, and I still don't, that we've got everything under control as a car owner. You know, we've been successful, and but you know, I just want to keep racing and never try to figure, well, we made it. You know, I'd just rather keep racing and doing our best and trying to win races and trying to win those championships, and never stop and say, well, you made it now. I think if I ever stopped and took time to say that I made it, I don't know what would happen. I just never did that.
Well, Dale Earnhardt, you know, Richard Childress has meant so much to you in your career, but it's a relationship, he said, when he hired you, when he made that decision at Talladega to bring you on board, that made all the difference in the world.
Well, it's been a great association. You know, we've really been fortunate to, you know, have good sponsors and have good people working with Richard. Richard's a good car owner and, you know, team manager. He does a great job. But we got some things in common. We work well together, and, you know, we enjoy life pretty much like each other do. And, you know, we're working to try to get ahead all the time. We don't think we ever got it made. You might win championships, win races, but you still got to work hard for tomorrow. You know, you don't know what might happen. So, you know, it's good to be with him. I know he's going to be in racing. I know he's not going to be, you know, here today and gone tomorrow. So, you know, I hope we can stay together for several more years as long as I'm able to drive.
You know, Dale, very philosophic. You had the accident here today at Bristol, and the car was damaged heavily, and the crew worked so hard. But when you went back on the track, I saw them smiling in the pits, and one of them told me, said, you know why we're smiling? I said, no. He said, because Dale said, hey, don't worry about it, guys. I guess it's just not our day. So pretty philosophic. I guess you just got to consider that some days are good and some days are like this day at Bristol.
Well, there's no use in adding to the wound once you have a problem, is just stay ill about it. We try to make light of the subject and talk about the car and, you know, try to get it the best and just sort of survive the rest of the day. And I was joking about needing a hot dog and turn the radio on, put MRN on for me so I know what's going on. So, you know, we pick and kid back and forth a little bit to get the pressure off. And the guys are doing a good job. You know, it's fortunate and unfortunate that we had the problem, but, you know, that's racing.
You've had a pretty good seat for all this fender banging and contact out there. You've had probably the best seat in the house. You think it's a little bit just a frustration for the first 4 events where everybody had to tiptoe and sort of be careful? Maybe they're just sort of letting loose here at Bristol?
No, you know, it's a little bit frustrating to have pit rules or track rules. The pit rules are fine. They've, you know, got everybody under control on pit road, and everybody's doing a good job. The double file restarts, odd and even, it's given advantage to the guys in third or fourth if they're odd or even or whatever. It doesn't work out well. So it's been a little bit frustrating in that way, but, you know, who knows? We'll work with it and see what we can come up with.
Any weather predictions?
I wish they'd call it off. I'm ready to go home.
It has been a long day already for Dale Earnhardt, the 4-time Winston Cup champion. Gentlemen.
All right, thank you, Jerry. And the rain does continue to fall. There's Richard Childress. You can see his left shoulder is wet there. It's raining quite hard here at Bristol, but no word so far from NASCAR on whether this race will be concluded at this point. We'll be right back.
when you have a lot of horses under your hood, shouldn't you have Michelin high-performance tires under your car? Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced the bold taste with no aftertaste, there is no going back.
The fans that remain here are looking for anything they can to protect themselves from the moisture that is falling from the skies over Bristol International Raceway. Now let's take a look once again at the top 30. And if the race does not resume, this is the way they'll finish. Davey Allison will win it. Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Darrell Waltrip. Then Jimmy Spencer, Terry Labonte, who started this race in 30th position, Rusty Wallace, Dale Jarrett, and Morgan Shepherd. Finishing 11th, if we do not resume, would be Ted Musgrave, then Harry Gant, Joe Ruttman, Chad Little, and Mickey Gibbs. 16th, Bobby Hillen, 17th, Hut Strickland, then Richard Petty, Rick Mast, and Dale Earnhardt. 21st at the moment is Kyle Petty, then Brett Bodine, Sterling Marlin, who is out with a crash, Michael Waltrip, and Jeff Bodine. And 26 through 30, Lake Speed, Alan Kowicki, Bill Elliott, Dick Trickle, and Ken Schrader. Now, here's the situation at the moment. It is continuing to rain. NASCAR will wait until 5:30, which is about 33 minutes from right now, to make a decision. If it is still raining at that time, we would surmise that they would not resume this race. But again, no decision will be made until at least 5:30 this afternoon. So what we are going to do is take this opportunity to go to the Bosch & Lombs Women's Tennis Championship with Cliff Drysdale. If we resume this race, we'll be back, but we'll keep you informed, because right now, quite honestly, it doesn't look very good for resuming this event. So let's go to Amelia Island, Florida at the moment. Women's Tennis, the Bosch & Lombs Championship. Here's Cliff Drysdale.